I see, shut I see. Yeah. Let go. Hey.
Why? And the high girl wanna say, I don't got time for the hate. I need more time in my day. I put an ice in my bay, yeah. You riding on me. I get my drip overseas. Hey, niggas are hating on me, yeah.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Peace and blessings up on all my Akis and all my sisters out there. Welcome to Split Decision. I'm your host, Aki. To my left is no other than
Professor Nims, the pundit with the PhD in pugilism.
Talk to him nice. Don't talk to him twice. Now, his name is a professor for a reason, because he's a real lifetime professor. Now, Aki stand for my brother in Arabic. For the people that don't know, is a New York, saying. You're supposed to say it Aki, but because that letter is not in English, it's pronounced as Aki in English. And obviously, in New York, they say Aki, so put y'all in game. That's another way of saying Migo. That being said, welcome to Split Decision. We're going to hold it down today. We got a lot to talk about from, Tyson Fury taking off his pass, trying to knock some sparring partners out, to, Lomachenko, ESPN trying to show that he's undefeated, fooling the public. So we're going to expose all of that. That's what new media here for. So, stay tuned, grab y'all popcorn and all that. And y'all saw last show. Me and Professor Nim. Professor Nim win at it.
I did want to say something, man. Like they saying that I might have bodied you, man. Is that true?
Hey, they said this show is split decision, but I knocked you out.
Oh.
That's what they said. Hey, Professor Nim was supposed to go out with me last night. He was a no-show. I had to check on him like, is my man in the hospital?
Not true.
You know what I'm saying? He a professor, but I'm about to be a doctor, you know what I'm saying? And go take care of him real quick. But that being said, let's get straight to it now. My condolences goes out to Patrick Day and his family. May he rest in peace. Boxing is a dangerous sport. That's why we got to take this sport seriously. That's why new media, we try to give credit to the fighters that don't get the credit they deserve. Because it's a sport where, any sport, all you need is one ball. Boxing, you need two balls in order to step into the ring. That being said, what you think about the whole situation of Patrick Day, and can you,
yeah, it's
talk about it?
I say all this with a heavy heart. So I've been keeping up with it. It's one of the things that is really dear to my heart, which is fighter safety in there, which is I'm one who advocates for the corner to be overly cautious when their fighter is taking a substantial amount of punishment. A lot of people think that it's the one punch knockouts or where the guy's laid out. The ones that are the most detrimental for fighters is those long fights where the guy has just enough power to inflict some pain on you, but not to actually knock you out. And then the other person has enough heart and just intestinal fortitude to kind of push through. And that's the most dangerous time, because that's repeated punches to the head, and basically your brain is kind of rattling around when that happens.
That's why boxing is more dangerous than UFC, because UFC, you could get a kick and get knocked out, but you could easily find a way out. You could tap and oh, it's a way out. You could be a Conor McGregor and turn your back on Khabib and get choked, and you find a way out. It's ways to get out. However, boxing, man, if you about to die, like Muhammad Ali, when he fought Frazier the third time, he said that was the closest thing to death. Now, if Muhammad Ali quit in the corner, they would have said he a quitter. They don't say there's no such thing
and that's going to follow him for his whole career.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why Muhammad Ali got up the next round and continued, and it was Frazier that couldn't see anymore because his eyes were literally closed from swelling. Because he took so much punishment. So, boxing is a very dangerous sport, and people got to take that a little more serious, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, this fighter is a quitter, that fighter is a quitter. End of the day, it's if you quit just because you gave up, that's a different conversation. Like a no mas, with Duran and Sugar Ray Leonard. Right. But if it's a situation where you're getting punished and, there's no way you're going to be able to win, it's okay for a fighter to quit. I'm not saying quit in the corner, but if his corner, stops the fight, that's why
Sometimes
the corner
it's
is
just
very
not
important.
your day. Sometimes you just pack it in. Professional athletes do it all the time. We've seen LeBron James have a bad day. We go to tennis, whether it's Andre Agassi or if it's a baseball player, they have bad. If it's a football player, they have bad days. Boxers are not allowed that opportunity to have a bad day, and it stays with them. There was an article on Patrick Day. If you get opportunity, the author escapes me right now, but the title of it was Patrick Day Didn't Need to Be Saved. And then when the title struck me, and I was like, "Well," and I thought they were talking about the corner, but what they were talking about was something that I've dealt with too during my stint as a boxer. Is that he did not come to the sport as a way to kind of save him from his situation. He actually had a college degree. He's from New York. He's very well spoken, and he was somebody who just loved the sport. So I remember when I first started boxing, I started when I was in graduate school. And a lot of people were like, "Man, why what are you doing? Like, why you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to box." And I was like, "What do you mean I don't have to box?" I'm like, I love the sport. I'm doing this sport because I love it. And that notion didn't enter into my mind frame until a little bit later, that a lot of people, this is their way out. So they're looking at boxing to kind of save them. Yeah. And then so the article spoke about how he didn't have to box.
Yeah.
It was just something that he loved. It was a passion. And the same thing for me. And there was really nothing that going back looking over tape, there was nothing that I really saw that the corner could have done anything differently, the ring doctors or anything. It was just a tragic situation that is unfortunately a part of our sport that we love so much.
Sometimes, a fighter just has your number. Sometimes, a fighter is better than you, whatever the case might be. So, the corner have to be aware of these things and to stop the fight if it's necessary. If the fighter is getting punished, there's no such thing as a quitter if you're about to face death. This is a very dangerous sport. So people got to keep that in mind. Now, what you think about what, basically is ESPN, Bob Arum and Max Kellerman been talking about, that if they having weigh-ins the same day of the fight, that will save a lot of fighters from having brain damage or going to a coma, because, the fact that fighters lose so much weight before the fight, and then if they didn't lose the weight the right way, it could affect them fight night. So that being said, do you think, like back in the day when it was, same day weigh-in, same day fight, do you think that makes a difference when, to save a couple of these fighters, if we can, and speak for a little bit farther from the mic?
Okay, yeah. So, I think that's a good question. I would like to go to the science and
let's try to speak a little bit farther
and kind of look at it. So my view on it is that, so their argument is that these fighters are depleting themselves so much that their body is not really in the condition to take that type of punishment. Really, the human body is not built to take punishment in that way anyway, but that's why boxers are so highly conditioned and so highly trained. Yeah. So and their issue is that a lot of these fighters, to cut weight is usually mostly water weight, right? Yeah. So we're
speak a little bit farther from the mic.
All right. Yeah. So it's mostly water weight, and the human body is about 70% water, and then particularly it's for your brain is very important when you are taking that type of punishment. So their reason is for that these fighters would not have to dehydrate themselves essentially to be able to make the weight, and then so it's less likely that they would sustain any type of damage that would lead to this type of fatality.
So do you think it does help if they actually fight the same day?
But the problem is that if you have to be smart in your nutrition, but if you that same day, if you just barely make that weight, right? Just say that you're kind of grown out of it, you don't have that 24 hours to replenish yourself with that water. So there's danger in both ways. So that's why I would like to see the science into it. What they're feeling is that the fighters are going to fight closer to their weight.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And so if a fighter has to fight closer to his weight, then that would be the case. But fighters are not going to do that. They're always looking for an advantage.
Yeah, now see, this is the thing. If they actually do pull that off, let's throw, a hypothesis right there, just saying, okay, let's say they pull that off in the U.S. They saying that's only in the U.S. Now, if they do in the U.S., the other countries will follow. How about if they don't follow along, and then if you fight in another country, then you have the weigh-in is the day before, but if you fight in the U.S., the day is the day of the fight. Fighters is going to use that as leverage to win titles in different weight classes, like below and above. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to create more confusion to the sport if all the countries doesn't follow along with the plan. If you could go to a certain country and fight, a day before the fight, weigh in a day before the fight, then fight, and then in the U.S. you have to fight the day of the fight and weigh in the day of the fight, then it's going to create a lot of confusion, I believe. So if they're going to make that decision, they have to make that decision for, worldwide. That being said, it's going to benefit a lot, like, for example, like I believe a Floyd Mayweather will have benefited of that situation because Floyd was the type of fighter who, at 130, he will come to the fight only weighing 5 pounds more. At 147 or 154, when he fought Canelo at 152 at a catch weight, I believe that he waited at 150, and then the next day he woke up weighing at 146. So he was a fighter that would have benefited from that. It's just his skill paid the bills. So it didn't matter if his opponent outweighed him 20 pounds, he still found a way to win because he was just that skilled. However, a lot of fighters do use that weight advantage, like a Hurd, like a Canelo when he was back at 155. There's a lot of big welterweights, including an Errol Spence. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't think, if you could make the weight with no problem and you're professional with it, there's no problem. I just feel like, fighters do need to fight closer to their weight, their natural weight, because, even an Errol Spence stated when he fights at welterweight, he's not 100% fight night. He said, not everybody 100%, but he said he'd be like 70%. He said if he fights at 154, once he do move up, he's going to be 90%. That being said, I do believe that, fighting on the same day as the weigh-in, it will help a lot of fighters, take a punch better. They might not suffer brain damage, but at the end of the day, that's God plan. You can't stop that from happening. And, we just send our condolences to Patrick Day and his family. And Charlo, shout out to Jamal Charlo. He paid for the funeral for Patrick Day. And, I want to, thank him for that, for setting an example. And, what's funny, Jamal Charlo is a person that's misunderstood in the media. You know what I'm saying? Like,
really?
Because look, this is, everybody wants this fighter, this perfect fighter, right? Every fan wants this fighter that will fight anybody, that will call out anybody, that will do this, that will do that, that's good, that's that could back up his shit. And that's what Jamal Charlo does. And what's funny, I peeped that interview where he called out Canelo Alvarez, where he called out Gennady Golovkin, where he called out Andrade, where he called out Daniel Jacob, and he stated, I'm willing to do a one fight with DAZN just to get one of these big fights out the way so I could have more leverage in the future and build his stardom. And, I'm all for that, right? But guess what? Do you believe that that video had more dislikes than likes? When he was just straight up calling out the best and wants to fight the best. He ain't he ain't diss nobody. He ain't say Canelo is ducking the smoke. He ain't say Gennady Golovkin this or that, called him any names. He might did have that in the past, but I'm talking about in that interview, he was just respectfully calling out everybody, and he was still getting hate for no reason. They judge a book by its cover. You know what I'm saying? Because he a fighter from the coincidental list. That being said, like I said, you got a fighter on the other hand from the hope list like Canelo Alvarez.
You gonna put him on the
No, listen.
On that list already?
Who?
Charlo?
He been on the list.
Right.
It's like if you part of a certain group, you're automatically on that list just because you get mistreated. I just pointed out how he mistreated when he's calling out the best fighters.
How has he been mistreated?
I just explained it to you. Are you listening to me or you
mistreated by who? The fans?
The fans.
Or
That's
by
what I'm
commission?
saying. Everybody, like if a fighter calls out every fighter in his division that's a big name, including a Daniel Jacob, including an Andrade that's dangerous, that's you could say is more risk than a reward.
Hold on, out Danny Jacobs.
Yeah,
because Danny's been wanting that smoke.
Hold on, we're gonna get to that.
Okay.
So let me speak my piece. I'm what I speak is facts. I'm not making up any shit. Like, so at the end of the day, I said Charlo did all that, and the video received more dislikes than likes. Then on the other hand, you got Canelo Alvarez. He comes out in an interview saying that he ain't gonna fight Andrade because he's too boring. Another code word of, you know, that fighter is not as vulnerable as the fighters I want to fight. So I'm not trying to get hit and not be able to hit him back. That being said, he said he boring. That style is boring because I can't figure out that piece of the puzzle. So, you know, he also said the same thing about Charlo, right? In the meantime, you know, Canelo Alvarez, that video got mostly likes. Most support and all that. So what I'm saying is, you know, it ain't about what you say. It ain't about what you do. It's about what you look like. That's what the sport turned out to be. And I'm saying, look, you know, if you think like Charlo is being hated for no reason. I cover the media. I report on fighters. And all I get every time I post a Charlo video is bunch of hate. And when he had a mandatory, which was J. Rock Williams, and J. Rock Williams haven't lost a round yet. And when he fought, like, Jamal Charlo didn't want to move up in weight till he fought him. Keep in mind, Jamal Charlo was coming off of eye surgery where he had to do eye laser surgery and passed that. And then he still took on, you know, a J. Rock Williams, a dangerous fight at the time, a high-risk fight. When he didn't have to, he could have just moved up straight up to the 106-pound division. But he wanted to prove himself and fought him and knocked him out. And look at J. Rock Williams today. A unified champion at 154. So all these people that keep saying Canelo, oh, he don't want to fight Charlo because Charlo ain't do nothing. Nah, it's because he got no cojones and he's scared of Charlo because he want no smoke with them Texas boys. That Texas heat is a different smoke for Canelo Alvarez. That being said, you know what?
Did you see Charlo's last fight?
Hell yeah, he won every single round.
Well, you thought that was impressive again?
Hell yeah! If you win every single round, when the last time Canelo Alvarez knocked somebody out other than Rocky Fielding?
What
you mean?
His competition. He fought somebody that was off of a reality show.
Who?
I'm saying is,
nah, that was a good fighter. He had great head movement. It was a good fighter.
The guy barely beat Sugar Shane Mosley Jr.
He was a good fighter, and Jamal Charlo, you know, hate it or love it, won every single round. If Jamal Charlo is sweet,
what's his best win at middleweight?
Listen, if Jamal Charlo is so sweet, how come Canelo Alvarez doesn't fight him like he fought Rocky Fielding and grab that strap? Look, the strap right here.
Because there's Rocky Fielding, who is a showcase fight that poses probably no risk at all.
Okay, and Charlo is a what? It's a 50-50 fight.
Probably.
Okay,
maybe
that's what I...
Maybe
so
60-40,
he's ducked in favor of who?
Canelo.
Nah, you tripping.
Because Canelo's fought the better... Canelo's fought Jacobs. He's fought Triple G. He's fought Mayweather. Like, you can name one person that Charlo's fought.
Hold on.
That we know of.
Okay. First of all, I just said J. Rock Williams.
I know that's the person I was talking about. That's it.
And at 160, Canelo Alvarez, the guy you just named, is ducking him.
No.
Gennady Golovkin, when the WBC ordered the fight, he ducked him too. You know what I'm saying? Daniel Jacob, the man you mentioned earlier, when Jacob ran to Charlo in New York City, and Jacob, my man, I support him all day. That's my. What did Jacob tell him? He told him, I'm getting that HBO check. What did Charlo tell him? He told him, I drop my opponent, you drop your opponent, and we fight next. So what do you, so you telling me, see, that's what I'm saying. Charlo is misunderstood because even though he said, I'm going to drop my opponent, I don't even got to wait. He said, I'm going to drop my opponent right now and you drop your opponent and we go fight next. And what did Jacob tell him? What Jacob told him? He said, I'm getting that check from HBO though. He was like, I don't care about that check. You're going to get that check with me too. I'm going to touch them M's too. So what I'm saying is, why is Charlo getting hated on for saying he's willing to drop his opponent to fight Jacob, and he's still willing. Hold on, I ain't finished.
No. You just asked a question like, why is he getting hated on when he approached him? Let me answer that point. So part of it's not just Jamal. I actually think Jamal is a little bit more composed and kind of mature about the way he carries himself than his younger brother, Jamel. I think part of it is that they have this rah-rah, like, in-your-face persona outside of the ring and stuff, and then it turns some people off. So in that situation right there is that Jacobs knows that Jamal doesn't, like, you don't understand how boxing goes. Like, you're not going to drop an opponent without you're not going to drop an opponent without, like, getting sued, or, like, there's contracts that are in there. If you sign a contract, you're not dropping the opponent. You're not doing this. So what it does, it looks good because you're talking aloud and you're saying that I'm gonna do this. But when it comes actually down,
saying Charlo's capping?
Yeah, he caps a lot.
No, he ain't capping. He told him he's still willing to fight him today. How is he capping when
that'll be a good fight? He should fight him next. So you should fight him next.
You saying, hold on. You saying it's all talk, right?
He should fight him next.
Okay, you saying it's all talk, but at the end of the day, it's Jacob that still have to agree to. I'm not saying Jacob is afraid. I'm saying that maybe Eddie Hearn doesn't want that fight because he knows Charlo is a dangerous fight. He was trying to sign Charlo, but Charlo was willing to fight Jacob in New York City. He's willing to fight Canelo Alvarez in Mexico City, and he stated that. Hold them to it. Jacob sent the contract to Charlo to fight him in New York City, right? So Jacob, send him a contract. Expose him, right? How about Canelo Alvarez? Send him a contract to fight him. They don't look. Canelo don't want to smoke.
Canelo's not going to do it.
First of all, you said the fight is 60-40 between him and Canelo. That's bullshit. Let me explain why. Floyd Mayweather schooled Canelo Alvarez every single round. Trout, that fight was almost a draw. That fight, it was the knockdown that separated the fight.
Them some good names.
And it was open scoring. What's his name?
Lara
beat him, in my opinion. 8 rounds to 4. He robbed Lara. Let's move on. Gennady Golovkin, it was a draw the first fight, a close fight the second time. I have both of them for Canelo Alvarez. Cotto, at the time, we was done by then. But anyways, it was still a good win. But Cotto, he was supposed to be the Cotto at 160. Come on now. What's his name? Who else we got? Daniel Jacob was still a good fight. He didn't watch Daniel Jacob. So what I'm saying is, okay, if you having a life and death fight with Trout, you think you're going to beat Jamal Charlo, who knocked out J-Rock Williams with an impressive uppercut? Keep in mind, Charlo got one of the best jabs in the game. He dropped and hurt J-Rock Williams with a jab. That being said, what's the one punch that Canelo Alvarez is always vulnerable to? Is that jab. Floyd Mayweather was scoring that all night. Gennady Golovkin was scoring that all night. Matter of fact, that's the punch that kept Gennady Golovkin in the fight. Charlo has the best jab in boxing, arguably. He dropped J-Rock Williams.
Susceptible to a good jab.
Okay, Jamal Charlo brings a great jab to the game.
That's not Canelo's issue, though.
He brings a great right hand. He brings a great counter punching ability. He got a great chin. He throws great combinations. He got good defense. He could fight inside, outside, mid-range.
He can't fight.
So I'm saying he is the favorite in that fight, in my opinion.
The favorite.
And unless you talking about the judges, how they, because obviously
you haven't named one person at 160 that I would even care about that.
Because they ducking him. How you blaming that on Jamal Charlo? They ducking him. Canelo ducking him. Gennady Golovkin ducking him. Daniel Jacob was talking the talk, but he didn't walk the walk, and he lost the Canelo Alvarez fight. So we can't even really talk about Daniel Jacob because he moved up to 168. And
has he fought a top 10 person at 160?
And he's calling all these guys out. You becoming one of these guys in the comment section. That keep criticizing. Hold on. You keep criticizing.
Don't put me there.
You keep coming out with criticism that's not fair. And I'm telling you the facts that they ducking him. Why you holding Jamal Charlo to this? Like, okay, if Canelo wants to fight, if he want to prove he pound for pound #1, fight Jamal Charlo. If Gennady Golovkin want to prove that he's not overhyped.
Where is he on the pound for pound list?
Who?
Jamal Charlo.
Jamal Charlo?
Where is he?
Should be on the pound for pound list.
That's what I'm saying. So why does Canelo have to fight him to validate his position?
Because he in his division. He's a champion in his division. Don't you want to see the best versus the best? Shouldn't Canelo Alvarez unify the division? So if you want Canelo to unify the division, but he shouldn't fight Jamal Charlo. Sound like you trying to protect Canelo Alvarez. Sound like you scared for Canelo Alvarez's life. That's what it sound like.
Who's Jamal fighting next?
Okay, this is the difference. You know, Gennady Golovkin, who is he fighting next? Nobody, right? But Gennady Golovkin.
He fought. I mean, his last person that he fought was a good fight.
Let me explain. He had to take that fight.
But who is he fighting though? Who Jamal?
Can I answer the question?
It's a name.
Can I answer the question?
Answer the question.
Can I answer the question? Gennady Golovkin. So this is the difference between Charlo and Gennady Golovkin. Gennady Golovkin lost to Deryachenko. Yes or no?
I thought he lost the fight.
All right. Max Kellerman thought he lost the fight.
I thought he lost the fight.
He told Deryachenko, I'm gonna give you a rematch. He told Andre to his face after the fight. Let me finish my point. He told Andre, I'm gonna give you an opportunity, right? Mm-hmm. He lied to Andre, he lied to Deryachenko, now he fighting a nobody. So he ducking that fight, he ducking Deryachenko, he ducking Charlo, he ducking Andre to fight who? To fight an unknown fighter. Meanwhile, Charlo tried to fight Gennady Golovkin. He tried to fight Canelo. He tried to fight Jacob. He's calling out Andre. He's calling out all these fighters. So because none of these fighters are available, he has to stay busy. Because if he doesn't stay busy, then fighters going to be like, Charlo never fights. So people ain't going to push for those fights. Just like you stated with Gary Russell. Didn't you say, Gary Russell, he don't deserve the Cruz fight because he's not active? How about you stay active?
No, I didn't say that.
No. You said that out your own mouth for episode 1, split decision. Go back and check Professor Nim talking about Gary Russell, he should stay active if he wants these big fights. Because if he doesn't fight only one time a year, we can't make the case for him to fight the Cruzes of the world. They're going to find a way to duck him. So that's what Charlo's doing. He's trying to stay busy to get these big fights because they keep on ducking him. So he has to fight who's available because the big dogs are scared to death. They're scared to look his way. So I'm saying,
can I?
So that's the answer to your question.
Okay.
That's the difference between a Charlo and a Gennady Golovkin. Charlo is fighting this unknown fighter because nobody's willing to step up to the plate. They got no cojones, including the Canelo Alvarez. Meanwhile, you got Gennady Golovkin, Andre willing to fight him, Charlo willing to fight him, Deryachenko want to fight him. All he looking out is to cash out against Canelo Alvarez.
That's a long answer. That was it.
That's the answer because you
let me get my retort. I know. Let me get my retort.
Play around. I'll give you facts.
Let me get my retort.
How it is.
So he's fighting Dennis Hogan, which I don't know a lot about.
He had a good win.
But I also want to.
He had a close fight with Manguia.
This is everybody that Charlo has fought at middleweight. He's fighting Dennis Hogan next. He fought Brandon Adams, Matveev, Korobov, Hugo Centeno, and I guess the Jorge Heelan fight was at.
Okay, what's your point you're trying to make?
That just seems like really unimpressive. If you're trying to make your case that you need to fight the top dog at 160. All
right, let me ask you the question. I may ask you this question. I want you to answer it. So who was? What belt does Charlo hold?
WB. Hold on.
The WBC.
WBC.
Okay.
The green belt. Yeah.
Who he won the belt from?
He won the WBC belt from. Well, he won the interim belt.
No, who he won the WBC championship belt from?
From nobody.
Why? Because Canelo Alvarez vacated the belt because he didn't want no smoke. So tell it like it is. So he trying to pursue the Canelo Alvarez fight. Canelo, just like Lennox Lewis back in the day. Remember when
Lennox Lewis?
Not Lennox Lewis, but the fighter. He was holding a belt.
Okay, you talking about when Lennox Lewis wanted to fight Riddick Bowe?
Riddick Bowe threw the belt
in the trash
because he didn't want to smoke with Lennox Lewis.
Now that was clear. That was clearly somebody avoiding.
Well, that's what Canelo did. He got stripped of the belt because he didn't want to keep it because he didn't want to face Charlo.
Man, he worried about this.
Listen. He would have made a lot of money fighting Charlo.
Really?
So face it. You like Canelo Alvarez, you need to face it. He on Canelo Alvarez payroll.
No, I'm not.
That's
no,
why
I'm
he
not.
getting paid by
Canelo. No.
You need to give me half of that check because I'm out here exposing your ass. Listen, hey, I'm telling him, y'all put that in the comment section because they said last time I had a knockout. They said I knocked you out.
They didn't.
They
I heard a lot of people say that. They said the loud guy needs to be quiet because the other guy is speaking facts.
I'm gonna post the comments. In the comment section on Aki TV on this video just to prove my case because everybody in the chat said hashtag Aki. So I wanted to.
It was a lot of Aki, but you got some fanboys.
Listen, ain't no fanboys. I got facts. That's what I got. Yo, Pactars couldn't even ride for you because you couldn't bring no facts up to point out what I'm saying. Just like now, I'm telling you, Canelo Alvarez is avoiding Charlo, and you over here trying to make excuses. Charlo trying to fight Gennady Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez himself. Canelo gave up his belt because he didn't want no smoke, just like who at heavyweight did? Riddick Bowe. So Riddick Bowe, Canelo Alvarez did what Riddick Bowe.
False equivalency.
Except that he didn't do it on camera when he threw the belt in the trash. That's exactly what he did. And what Canelo did is exactly the same, but Professor Nim is trying to justify that. How are you trying to justify that? And he's trying to say Charlo ain't fight nobody because the champion Canelo Alvarez
I said at middleweight. I said it. I want to stand corrected.
Where Canelo fights at middleweight because
I fucked with Charlo, by the way.
Listen, he don't. Hey, I gotta call you out on this because you being biased and I'm exposing the bullshit because I'm bringing up facts. Canelo is trying to fight the champion Canelo Alvarez. Charlo trying to fight the champion Canelo Alvarez at middleweight. It was Canelo who ducked him. Charlo's trying to fight Gennady Golovkin at middleweight. It's Gennady Golovkin who ducked him. He was trying to fight Daniel Jacob. So all I'm saying is he's trying to fight the big names. The big names are scared of him. Just like you said, Floyd Mayweather fought nobody at 140 when the 140 pounders is the fighters that was ducking him. So what Floyd Mayweather did, he was like, you know what? I'm going to fight. I'm gonna make a gangster decision. I'm going to move up another weight class to fight the bigger names and the bigger and the stronger guys at 147. And Floyd Mayweather did that, and you criticizing Floyd for that. So I'm saying, what you going to say about that now? What you going to say about Charlo? Why Canelo? Can you donate some cojones for Canelo Alvarez to get in the ring with?
So listen, so I'm not the one thing. I'm not the biggest Canelo fan, which you're trying to make it out to seem. I give him credit for improving his style, but Canelo is unequivocally the cash cow. So when you just can't simply state that, oh, he's trying to fight the champion. He was like, no, he's trying to fight the most lucrative fighter in boxing.
He's trying to fight every champion out there. He's not just trying to fight Canelo like Gennady Golovkin. That's Gennady Golovkin. Charlo's trying to fight Canelo. He's trying to fight Gennady Golovkin. He's trying to fight Andrade, and he's trying to fight Daniel Jacob. You trying to act like Charlo is just trying to fight. No,
he needs to fight Jacobs, and he needs to fight Andrade.
Hold on. Stop trying to switch the narrative.
If he beats those two guys, he will earn a fight against Canelo.
You don't have no leg to stand on. You keep switching the narrative. You keep trying to switch the narrative. Because I'm over here telling you, you saying Charlo, you trying to make it seem that Charlo only wants to fight Canelo because he's the cash cow. Fuck that. We off that. Charlo is trying to fight Daniel Jacob, Andrade, and Gennady Golovkin and Canelo. So he's trying to fight all of them. He don't care.
I will give him credit for doing that.
If you would have
he's fighting Dennis Hogan now.
Can I get my piece out? He's trying to fight any fighter with name, any fighter with a belt. So if you got a belt, he wants to smoke. It's these fighters that's ducking him. Okay. You can't put that blame on him. So the reason why he fighting him, who's just coming off a close fight with what's his name at 154, the champion, that Mexican fighter,
Managua or whatever.
Yeah, well, he just came off a close fight with him. So he fighting these fighters to stay active, because if he don't, they're gonna do him like they did Andre, like they did Andre Ward, like they did. Man, listen, bro, you know it and I know it. Canelo is scared to death. He's scared to fight Charlo, and that's a big fight also. Charlo headline, he headlined fights. He headlined the past 3 fights, right? So he headlined against the no-names. He carrying the card by his own self, right? You said that Charlo is headlining the cards by fighting no-names, right? So that means he the star, right? That being said,
he ain't pay-per-view.
So I don't care about none of that. Canelo Alvarez fought Rocky Fielding, a fighter that never headlined. So Canelo fights a champion that coming off a knockout loss in the first round just to win a fake belt at 168, but he won't fight a fighter that headlined multiple times on Showtime, and that's Charlo. So we all know what it is. It's not the fact that Charlo, Canelo don't want to fight Charlo because it's not a big fight. Hell no, it's a big fight. That fight is on pay-per-view.
Somebody call on your phone. It's Charlo, actually, right there.
Hey,
So,
shit, Charlo.
you must be in his pocket.
Hey, you
right
know
there.
what's going on? Hey, you trying to steal my line, but it's all right. I got another line for you. Listen, I'm a line, so a line recognize a line.
No, I'm a lion.
So Canelo, he definitely don't have a heart of a lion. He got a heart of a chicken. Canelo Alvarez is looking like a duck right now. Canelo
So you don't
Alvarez.
give Canelo no credit for his over. Like,
I don't give him credit, and I might take him off my pound for pound list because he's afraid to fight the best, and that's Andrade and Charlo. But he claimed he pound for pound #1. Man, dismiss me with that. Like I said, Floyd Mayweather never ducked no smoke. Floyd Mayweather had Ricochet Mosley coming to the ring and call him out, and we all saw what happened. He fought him next. Andrade and Charlo been disrespecting Canelo Alvarez for 5 years, and he won't even negotiate with him. He afraid to even mention their names in the media. He just now did it for the first freaking time for 5 years. So that being said, Canelo Alvarez has the heart of a chicken, and he ain't trying. Look, when you're a chicken, you ain't trying to go in the ring with a lion because he gonna feast on you. That being said, let's hop on to the next subject after I knocked out Professor Nen. Hey, hold on, I got a towel this time. Hey. Wipe out your nose, man. You bleeding. Hey, that being said, so we on to the next topic. We got Lomachenko. So Lomachenko, I'm sorry. Lomachenko.
No Moschenko.
Lomachenko, because he want no smoke with Pacquiao or Devin Haney. So Lomachenko, he came out and he had an interview last night. Not last night. Yeah, last night on ESPN. And they listed his record as 14-0 and 10 knockouts as an undefeated fighter, trying to fool the public. And that's crazy because as a fan, when you're watching it, so like we all know Lomachenko is not pound for pound #1. New media got Terrence Crawford as pound for pound #1, as all media should have Terrence Crawford as pound for pound #1. Lomachenko is on the pound for pound #1 just because he's on the hope list. That being said, so when a fan is tuning in to ESPN, and he a casual fan, don't know much about the sport. That's why you should subscribe to Aki TV because you get informed about the sport if you subscribe to me. That being said, they watching ESPN and they see Lomachenko as this fighter with he undefeated. He pound for pound #1. So they're like, man, that's impressive. So I'm gonna check him out. And then when they go check his record out or they go see him on TV, he has a loss. And then they find out he's really not pound for pound #1. It's Terrence Crawford. So they found out they didn't just get lied to, but they got lied to by a network like ESPN. Like, I was so shocked by that. Now, people going to try to say, oh, it was probably a mistake. Man, listen, bro. They know what they're doing. They're trying to fool the public because they did the same thing with Teddy Atlas when he had his pound for pound list talking to Ward and Terrence Crawford. They had Errol Spence as a Cuban. They had a Cuban flag next to him. and Errol Spence at the time, he my man, but he wasn't on the pound for pound, especially not on the top 5, right? I don't even know if he fought a Kell Brook at the time or not. So Teddy Atlas had Errol Spence #5, but I think they meant to put Rigondeaux because Rigondeaux haven't fought Lomachenko, and he was actually about to fight Lomachenko. And so what the ESPN did, they put Rigondeaux back on the pound for pound list. So when Lomachenko beats him, it could be a good look, right? Because he was like not having fights because fighters was ducking him. So they put Errol Spence instead of Rigondeaux because they dislike Rigondeaux. That being said, we all know what ESPN doing, so we calling them out for the BS. So just like they overhyped Gennady Golovkin, they obviously had to say they were incorrected. Max Kellerman and Jim Lampley, out of their own mouth, said that his career is a failure. They, out of their own mouth, said his legacy has to be reviewed. And those the same people that put Gennady Golovkin on the list of the best fighters of the past 25 years. You know what I mean? So, are they going to do the same thing for Lomachenko? We've been preaching that 5 years ago, so they over here just catching up. Meanwhile, we've been telling y'all Lomachenko's overhyped. Don't get me wrong. He's better than Gennady Golovkin. Don't get me wrong. I believe he's probably even 5 times better than Gennady Golovkin. But he's as overhyped as Gennady Golovkin because the media trying to say he's as great as Roy Jones. When he went to the UK, everybody talking about his talent is as great as Roy Jones. We haven't seen a fighter like him since Muhammad Ali, and we all know Terrence Crawford still here today, pound for pound #1. And even Bob Arum said that Terrence Crawford is a better talent. However, Lomachenko is more promotable. And they've been promoting the shit out of Lomachenko, and he still can't even sell in the state. And when he went to the UK, he fought a ranked number 5, Luke Campbell, and that dude almost, had him hurt a couple times in the fight, and he was ranked number 5 in the division. You talking about this guy is so great and all that, and Lomachenko after the fight coming out saying, "Oh, that was my toughest fight to this day." That being said, we all know what they doing. They out here playing the game of overhyping fighter.
His toughest fight should have been his loss.
That's what I'm saying.
He lost to Salido.
This is an accident ready to happen. Lomachenko could only go 80 miles per hour while he's racing. However, ESPN wants him to go 150 miles per hour. So he gonna lose control and crash. That being said, when he crashed, what they gonna do? Hop off the waves like they did with Gennady Golovkin? The only way Lomachenko could live up to the expectations is by taking supplements. And that's why fighters end up taking supplements and steroids, because they trying to live up to this hype that the old media put on them. So they trying to live up to the Max Kellerman of the world, the Jim Lampley of the world. They've been overhyping them so much, and they can't live up to them expectations by their own talent. So they have to take certain supplements in order to live up to that. And that's why fighters end up taking steroids. And it's because of old media. So like I said, new media, we all about, we not here to create confusion. We over here trying to restore order and maintaining it. So giving credit to the fighters that deserve the credit, and the fighters that get way more credit than they deserve, like a Lomachenko, we expose it. Because at the end of the day, fighters put their life on the line. Patrick Day just died because he a fighter. So you gotta give fighters the credit they deserve, because they put on their life on the line for this. So that's what new media here for. That's what I keep here for. We out here trying to support our brothers. That being said, what you think about the whole situation with ESPN putting Lomachenko as an undefeated fighter instead of his real record with a fat-ass loss to Salido when he schooled him and took him to the Mexican school, a whole university that he didn't know about. You know how I just schooled you earlier, took you to the IQ University? That's what Salido did to him, and the man couldn't graduate, and he didn't want to revisit that same school. What you got to say to that?
Good. So I'll say that it's not a mishap by ESPN. Why they would do that, I'm not sure. In that sense, they're obviously behind the whole Lomachenko machine. I think some of it at least is warranted. I think he is a very talented fighter. Pound for pound, I would put him. I always have a 1A and 1B, which is kind of a slick way of not trying to decide one. But him and Terrence Crawford are up there.
Ain't no such thing as 1A, 1B, man.
It's not. But I mean, if somebody put him up there, I could understand their arguments in there. I think that he's beat a lot of really good fighters that I thought when he fought Nicholas Walters that he was going to have a lot of trouble. He didn't seem to have any trouble.
Because Walters was moving up in weight, and he came off like a year layoff. And let's not forget, Lomachenko is the same fighter that got schooled by Salido. Like,
that was a loss. It was a bad loss. It was. But listen, this was his second fight.
Well, he could have rematched him, but he didn't want to rematch him because he said Salido wanted more money. Yeah, he deserved more money because he beat your ass. He took you to a whole university that you don't know about. So you got to pay for that education. You got to pay for that education. You got to pay to go to that school again and graduate.
He got school. Part of that schooling was he took several low blows.
Man.
And Salido came in and did not even and missed weight. Yeah. And then he also missed weight. But those are old school things that I like Salido as a fighter, but Salido is somebody
up, and he still beat his ass.
Well, yeah, but I was gonna say that he's somebody who pushes the envelope when it comes to dirty tactics.
Man, listen, nobody had a problem when Hopkins did it. Nobody had a problem when Hopkins.
There was a lot of people that had a problem with Hopkins did it, but like people just look at Hopkins as
boxing
professor of boxing.
You get away with what you could do. Listen. Floyd Mayweather found a way to win against Maidana when Maidana was hitting him in front of the referee. So what I'm saying is this: Salido beat Lomachenko so bad when even in the first 2 rounds, people go back and watch that fight. The first 2 rounds, Salido was schooling Lomachenko, boxing him in the outside by confusing him and throwing some looping shit. And when Lomachenko does his favorite pivot move, when he leans to the right, Salido will switch positions from orthodox to southpaw and throw a wild left hook. So Lomachenko couldn't do his favorite pivot move. So basically, Salido negated Lomachenko's favorite move. That's why he won the fight. So give Salido the credit he deserved. He took him to the Mexican school.
He gets all
I'm
the credit.
saying Lomachenko haven't fought a Mexican-style fighter like him to this day. So we don't even know if he really could still be that style. He fights fighters that's more technical. That's what he does good against. But at the end of the day, we all know what time it is. They fed him a Salido. He got lost to. You know, he had a good fight with Gary Russell. That was his best win to this day. Rigan Diaz, man, he made him move up 2 weight divisions after 3 years of inactivity. Walters and Martinez, bro. Look, Gamboa, a washed up version of Gamboa today knocked him out more impressively than freaking Lomachenko did.
He also stopped Jorge Linares. And he beat
Linares, dropped him, and it was a close fight. So what I'm saying, he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong, but he's not pound for pound number 1. That's Terrence Crawford because he's more dominant. Now we had a disagreement on that. We already talked about it, and I'm posting the link below. We had it, and I think I won the debate hands down. You know, it's a split decision, but it was a unanimous decision for me.
Who out there? Who you think is number 1 pound for pound?
Like I said, I proved it with facts when we had our argument.
No, fact. So, it's not. It's still a subjective thing when you talk about pound for pound.
I think fighters,
unless they go and fight each other, it's still it's still a subjective thing.
Now, we know Lomachenko turned down that smoke, so we already know he didn't want that smoke.
Yeah, he was smart to do that.
So on to the next topic. Tyson Fury got caught and he got busted by a sparring partner, where he went and visited the gloves because he felt like, man, Tyson was hitting a little bit too hard because he could feel his knuckles. So he went to the to the back room and stuff. So he saw that the padding on Tyson Fury was so thin, and he compared it to his glove. It felt like it was a 20-ounce glove compared to a 3-ounce glove. He takes the padding out to hurt the sparring partners, and we just heard Patrick Day, rest in peace. And more fighters, get brain damage. So why would you do that to your sparring partners that's here to get you, better and prepare for your opponent? So ain't that kind of like that's what I'm saying. Tyson
not even
Fury,
kind of. It's a despicable act. When I worked with any of my sparring partners, we were always there to help each other. So even if you were like brought in to help somebody get ready for a fight, there was an understanding, there was a brotherhood, there was an amount of sportsmanship that you had there, and to prove a point or to help with your own self-esteem by doing that.
Like he can't punch, so he's trying to feel like he could punch. Like, come on now. See, that's the thing, right? Like when I spar too, what I do is I try to work on things that I'm not good at, depending the skill level of my opponent. So if it's somebody I'm way better than, I will, like, if I'm not comfortable in the inside, I will work on my inside game. You know what I'm saying? So I will work on things that I'm not really comfortable with, depending on my style. That being said, Tyson Fury over here trying to make a point, and funny enough, he from the UK, or that's where he lived. He a gypsy. And, one of his favorite fighter of all time is Prince Nassim Hamed, my favorite fighter, ironically. But Prince Nassim Hamed, funny enough, he fought at 112 to 126, and he hit harder than Tyson. Like, Tyson over here, not Tyson, but Tyson Fury. He hit that harder than Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury over here trying to act like he a power puncher. He talking about he gonna knock out Deontay Wilder, trying to fool himself in sparring by taking off his padding. Man, look, man, this is a low act, a dishonorable act, and Tyson Fury should be ashamed of himself. And if it's not true, then why Tyson Fury doesn't come out and be like, oh, that's not true. My sparring partner lying, and his sparring partner had a video footage to expose him. So that being said, Tyson Fury should be ashamed of himself, and that's why he belonged to the WWE, because that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, some things, like, you could say that come out funny, but some things come out corny, and a lot of things that, you a dosser and all that to us in the U.S., I don't know, but how it sounds in the UK, but to us, it sounds a little corny. Like, his trash talk sounds a little corny because it's not believable. Like, Deontay Wilder told him, when I speak it, believe it, receive it. Like, I mean that shit. When I say I'm going to knock you out, I'm coming to knock you out. You out here talking about you going to knock me out and you going to go to toe-to-toe. We all know that's bullshit. You know that's bullshit. Like you talking out of your ass. You know what I mean? Everybody got opinions, but opinions are like assholes. Everybody got one. Like, he talking like he got a bigger opinion than most. Yeah. So I'm saying, but like, it's all promotion. I understand.
Two different arguments, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's all promotion. But that's why he belonged to the WWE. I believe he will fit in well when he goes to fight in the WWE and makes $15 million for that. I think that's a smart idea because he get in where you fit in, right? But I'm saying it's just a low act to do that in sparring because I'll be mad if I'm sparring somebody and they take off their pads.
I wouldn't be mad. No. I would not be mad. Like, that's like,
I'm not getting paid for that.
That's criminal.
That's criminal
for one thing. So, and that's assault, right? So we recognize that boxing is essentially legalized assault, but it is under these rules that we have agreed upon. So when you go past that, then you're talking about some criminality. As far as the trash talking, I
could care less. Yeah,
I actually think that he's pretty clever with his trash talk. Man. I don't like compared to Wilder. I think Wilder. I don't think he's that articulate. I think he kind of tries too hard. He tries to be loud instead of just being clever.
You got the game mixed up, man. Wilder be saying shit that I be feeling like. You be like, damn, like he mean that. You could tell he mean it. Like when Wilder speak it, bro, like you feel it. Like he told Radio Raheem to this day.
Yeah, that's
to this day, and like I feel that shit. Till this day, we still dealing with this bullshit. But I'm talking about Tyson Fury.
It wasn't what he said that made you feel it. It was the fact that he yelled. He said it several times. To this day.
No, hold on.
To this day.
It's because he was speaking the truth. It's because he was speaking the truth and he was relating a message. That's why. But Tyson Fury says a lot of BS, like things that really is like not even true. Like he'd be like, I'm more popular than Deontay Wilder. Like, not according to ESPN. Your own network said you're not. The network you fight on says you're not. So when you say shit like that, go ask people in the street.
It's trash talk. It's trash talk.
Now, I don't care about trash talk, but when you say shit like that, trying to like prove a point, it don't sound right because what made Conor
what's he supposed to say?
When look,
like Wilder's more popular than me.
Use facts. Like Conor McGregor when he was in the UFC using the trash talk or I made you rich, I did this, I did that, right? Now, when he fought Floyd, the trash talk and the lead up for that, he didn't tell that to Floyd because he knew that wasn't true. It was Floyd.
He was a little racist with his trash talk.
It was Floyd who was actually, it was Floyd Mayweather who was telling him, man, I made 800 my last fight, in my career. I made 300 against Pacquiao. And what you made against your last fight, 3 million? Bro, that's my camp money. That's what Floyd Mayweather was using. When it's true, it's funny. But when it's not true, it's like, man, you out here, you capping. So ain't no cap in my game. That's what Wilder is saying. Tyson Fury is a lot of cap in his game. That being said, let's move on to the next topic, man. Hey, your favorite topic. Now, a fan and an article came out, so they sent me this, and they want me to talk about that. Now, Manny Pacquiao versus Prince Naseem Hamed. Hey, Pac-Tard favorite moment right now, but hey, Pacquiao, one of my favorite fighters of all time. We could speak of his legend all day. Pacquiao, one of the greatest, obviously. I think ESPN has him listed number 2 of the past 25 fighters of the past 25 years. Had, I believe, Floyd Mayweather as number 1. I believe Roy Jones had to be top 2, man, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, so
that's a good opinion.
Yeah, Manny Pacquiao versus Prince Naseem Hamed. Now they saying that's the dream fight. That Prince Naseem Hamed. It ain't no secret. The biggest entertainer in the sport. A fighter would dance to the ring in a flying carpet, flip over the rope, and knocks a motherfucker out. Like he had the audacity to do that shit. I mean, imagine if you failed one time. Like it would have looked embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? He never failed doing the flip, and he sure never failed to entertain inside and outside of the ring with his trash talk, with his attitude. And I believe that's the blueprint that Floyd Mayweather took to become Money May, because Floyd Mayweather, he was, if you peeped Floyd Mayweather earlier, he was very humble when he came to the boxing game, but he kind of switched his persona afterwards, kind of, getting the page out of Prince Nassim Hamed, and he said it himself. That being said, Prince Nassim Hamed is arguably the biggest puncher, pound for pound, at 126 and below. Manny Pacquiao, one of the greatest fighters of all time, that moved up from 112 to 147. Prince Nassim Hamed did the same.
154.
150. He fought 150 against Margarito. And Margarito wasn't really a champion, but we let that slide. And he was coming off a knockout loss to Sugar Shane Mosley. But Pacquiao started at 112. Prince Nassim Hamed started at 112. Nassim Hamed moved up to 126 because featherweight, featherweight, because he was trying to make money. He was on a rush. He didn't want to win titles there because he was trying to get. 126 wasn't his best division. He was too small for 126. He was only 5'3", 5'5", I believe. But the reason he moved up to 126, he didn't even have abs at 126. But it was to make money because keep in mind at the time, Mike Tyson was fighting. Holyfield was fighting. Lennox Lewis was still around. Roy Jones, Oscar De La Hoya, Hopkins, Winky Wright, Oscar De La Hoya. Prime fighters. I'm talking about the prime versions. Sugar Shane Mosley, even Pernell Whitaker, Pretty Boy Floyd, Prince Nassim Hamed, Morales, Barrera, Marquez. All these fighters was in their prime. That's why when he was at the time as a pound for pound fighter, it was hard to be on the pound for pound list because of all these names I just named. It was hard to get recognition because of all these big names, but he still stole the show and brought attention to the lower weight divisions, because prior to that, there was no fighters at featherweight or below fighting as a main event till Prince Nassim Hamed came around. And he actually fought on pay-per-view on more than one occasion. And that's how crazy, how much of a star he was. He was making like $4 million at the time, which was unheard of for a featherweight. You know what I'm saying? And especially competing with heavyweight. Heavyweight was still alive. You know what I'm saying? I mean, from all the fighters I just named, right now, if you peep the fighters and you peep the fighters then, it was kind of hard to compete. You got Roy Jones and Pretty Boy Floyd, Sugar Shane Mosley, and Oscar.
Well, it's not that, but you had
Mike
those fighters
Tyson
in their prime. Also,
in their prime. So my question is, who will win a fight in his prime? I'm not talking about the version of Prince Nassim Hamed that lost to Barrera. I ain't talking about the version of Pacquiao that fought at 147. I'm talking about the version of Pacquiao in his prime at 126 and the version of Prince Nassim Hamed at his prime at 126 when he knocked out Boom Boom Johnson to become the undisputed, the unified featherweight champion, beating the best featherweight champion in the world at the time by knocking him out, and he was knocking everybody out at the time. So Prince Nassim Hamed versus Pacquiao, the dream fight. Mm-hmm. Who takes that win and how you just see that fight breaking down, Professor Nim? I want you to be a professor today. I want you to tell me your pick and why. So it's your
all right. So I've thought about this. It's hard. Prince Nassim is honestly one of my favorite fighters. It wasn't only I love what he brought, the entertainment value that he brought to the ring, but he also had devastating power. Yeah. He broke a lot of rules in boxing, but his power really came from he had very strong, sturdy legs, and once he landed on you, you did funny things. With that said, at 126, Pacquiao was just coming into his own, right? So that was when he first got with Freddie Roach around that time at that weight division. And he was very raw. He was a one-handed fighter at that time, but he was tenacious. He had just a boundless amount of energy. He just hopped around the ring the whole time. And I would, based off of his activity and tenacity, I would take Pacquiao in that fight with a close 12-round decision with a couple of knockdowns, like either way.
Who is getting the knockdowns?
I think for both of them. I think Pacquiao because he had the tendency to run in. I think with against Pacquiao, he struggles the most against right-handed fighters who have an educated jab and who has a pretty good pull counter right or just a counter right.
Yeah, speak from the mic a little.
So Prince, he fought mostly from the southpaw stance. He was a switch hitter,
yeah.
but he could fight from the right-handed stance. But I thought he was most effective from his southpaw stance. And so I think on one of those switches that he could catch Pacquiao. But I just think because of Prince Nassim's defensive lapses that he has, sometimes he goes straight back. He has a lot of Ali-esque tendencies, so to speak. And I think it would have caught up to him because he's been dropped. So for him to get dropped is not a big thing. He got dropped 3 times by Kevin Kelly. So
yeah.
And he wasn't
that was the fight of the year too.
It was a
Kevin
great
Kelly
fight.
was one of the hardest featherweight punches of all time too.
Yeah, but I would take Pacquiao over Kevin Kelly when it comes to power at 126.
Yeah. All right, so let's get straight to it. Now, my opinion on this. So you mentioned, Prince Nassim Hamed got dropped. Pacquiao been knocked out by a featherweight too that started his career at a featherweight, and that's Marquez. And Marquez is not a Prince Nassim Hamed when it comes to his power. Like Prince Nassim Hamed, he fell in love with his power. That's what hurt him. Because toward the end of his career, he wasn't training as much. If you watch, because a lot of people, I know they're going to just base this on, okay, Manny Pacquiao, he beat up Barrera, and, Barrera beat Prince Nassim Hamed.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not doing that equation,
don't play that triangle theory, because obviously Ali lost to Frazier the first time, but look what Ali did to George Foreman. You know what I'm saying? So we can't play that triangle theory because styles make fights. That being said, first of all, Pacquiao been dropped. Pacquiao been knocked out at the lower weight divisions twice because of he rushing in. He was rushing in and got stopped. And he also got.
It was like body punches.
Body punches. That's what I'm saying. Because he was going for the kill too, and he also got knocked out by Marquez when he was over anxious. So this is a tendency that Pacquiao always had. And keep in mind that featherweight Pacquiao lacked defense more than Prince Nassim Hamed almost. And the problem with him, he will walk into a shot. You know what I'm saying? Now, Pacquiao, he had a lot of endurance and he had a lot of speed. But however, he was one-handed fighter. And I believe Wayne McCulley, he was a fighter that throws a lot of punches. But when he fought Prince Nassim Hamed, he hardly threw because it's what's coming back. Prince Nassim Hamed fell in love with his power toward the end of his career because he stopped training as much. He started training less. When he was younger, he was training 7 hours, 8 hours a day straight, no stop. After that, when he was toward the later part of his career, he kind of slowed down. And by the time he fought Barrera, man, if you saw that, man, listen, I'm going to put a link to the Barrera lead up to that fight. Man, he was getting beat up 2 weeks before the fight by a sparring partner. His trainer, what's his name? Manuel Stewart told him, you ain't going to beat Barrera like this. You got to get better. He told him straight up. And that's what I'm saying. You can't judge Prince Nassim Hamed off the Barrera performance because the man didn't even do the flip over the rope. I mean, like, damn, man. If anything could have went that wrong that night, like when he didn't flip over the rope, I already knew, man, something wrong. The man didn't even smile. Like, even when he smiled, you could tell it was a fake smile. He wasn't dancing. He wasn't laughing. He was struggling to make weight because it was the longest layoff to that point. He broke his hand, knocking out, I believe it was Sanchez, a fight prior to that when he broke his neck and he broke his hand. He broke Sanchez's neck, but he broke his hand in that fight. That being said, due to that, Prince Nassim Hamed ended up, taking a layoff, and they called him, gave him a lot of money. HBO told him, listen, we got to fight with Barrera. Barrera, prior to that, didn't want to fight him and Morales and Marquez. They all turned the Prince Nassim Hamed fight. He was the money man of the division, unlike Canelo Alvarez, but he was also the most feared man of the division. They all ducked him, but when they saw him vulnerable against Sanchez, Barrera chose to,
he got dropped against Augie.
Yeah, he got dropped. So he was like, you know what? He looked like he ain't the same no more. So he fought him. Like I said, Prince Nassim Hamed, if you saw the interview for that fight, he stated, once I hit him, they lose their concentration, and they ready to get knocked out. I just hope they all safe. That's what I hope. He was praying to God and all that, right? So I'm saying he fell in love with his power so much that he didn't train. He wasn't as elusive.
He fell in love with himself.
Yeah, he wasn't as elusive. He wasn't as elusive like he was early in his career. Like when you watch Prince Naseem Hamed in his prime, like when he was younger, because he won a title when he was 20, 21, became unified champion at 22. Fighters don't even win a belt till they 26 fight today. He did it in an early age. He had a natural talent like Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones. However, he's unlike Floyd Mayweather, he wasn't as dedicated. So for the people that's gonna be like, oh, Prince Naseem Hamed, look at him how he look against Barrera. You gotta understand, you can't judge a fighter based on his loss. You gotta judge a fighter based on his accomplishments. If we judging Manny Pacquiao based on his loss, he got knocked out by Marquez. And Prince Naseem Hamed is a knockout puncher with power. So it's a no-brainer. Prince Naseem Hamed wins the fight. So you got to judge Pacquiao of his biggest wins, and that's a Barrera, a Morales. And we got to be honest. When he fought Barrera was toward the end of his career. Like he'd been in so many wars.
He was still a good fighter.
He was still a good fighter, but
he was favored to win that fight.
Yeah, but it's because Pacquiao was really like not known.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, Barrera is one of the greatest fighters of all time. So when people get at Prince Naseem Hamed for losing the Barrera fight, first of all, he struggled to make the weight and went 12 rounds. He said he's surprised he didn't get knocked out. And he fought and lost by 3 points to one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time and one of the greatest fighters of all time, period. Barrera, if you don't know Barrera, watch his legendary fights with Morales and all these fights. And his win against Prince Naseem Hamed was his biggest win. It tells you how much of a beast Prince Naseem Hamed was and how much of an upset it was. So it ain't like for example, Amir Khan or Manny Pacquiao, when they lost to unknown fighters early on in their career, you could be like, man, you lost to that dude, man. How can you beat this guy? Prince Naseem Hamed lost to one of the greatest of all time. Ain't no shame in that. Ain't no shame in his game. That being said, Prince Naseem Hamed, with his power, with him being able to switch from southpaw to orthodox, with his counter ability, with his reflexes, and with his agility, and the fact that he could be off balance. He could be off balance and knock you out. And we know Manny makes a lot of mistakes. He ain't no Floyd Money Mayweather when he ain't going to give you opportunity to hit him.
Especially at featherweight.
Yeah,
he wasn't in close.
Man, the man made too many mistakes. So it's like, if you like swimming, if you swim, you're going to get wet. If you box, you're going to get hit. If you box Manny, you're going to hit him. Can you knock him out? Obviously, we've seen Manny Pacquiao run into a shot or two and been knocked out. I believe Prince Naseem Hamed could land a shot because that's what he looks for. He looks for that perfect shot.
Predicting?
I think Prince Naseem Hamed knocks him out coming in because I think what it is, I think Manny gonna fall in love with hitting Prince Naseem. Like, let's say if Manny's able to hit Prince Naseem Hamed because he was so fast, like Kevin Kelly did, and he lands a punch or two, and let's say he even dropped Prince Naseem Hamed. Prince Naseem Hamed never been stopped. He always had a great chin. Prince Naseem Hamed never blocked a punch and never been knocked out. That's too impressive for me. I believe because he got such a great recovery and great chin and great legs. Prince, like Manny Pacquiao, gonna go for the kill or think he hurt, and Prince Naseem gonna catch him with a counter and put his lights out like he did to Kevin Kelly, kind of in that similar situation. But I believe the best version of Prince Naseem Hamed, I hardly see anybody beating him at 126 and below. And keep in mind, Prince Naseem Hamed shouldn't even be fighting at 126. The reason he fought 126, like I explained, it was just too much attention in boxing because Mike Tyson, heavyweight, was lit up and Roy Jones was around and all these great fighters. Even Floyd wasn't getting recognition like that as great as he was early on in his career. So that's why Prince Naseem Hamed, chose to move up to 126 because featherweight was a known division. Like, if you fight at bantamweight, it was like, we don't know you much. But featherweight was like, okay, we'll let that slide. That's why they let him fight on pay-per-view.
But they had legends fighting at that weight division too.
Yeah, and that's why I brought attention to the featherweight division. And even thanks to Prince Naseem Hamed, it opens door for Floyd Mayweather to copy his blueprint and become Money May. Fighters even a Manny Pacquiao opened doors for fighters from the lower weight divisions to become superstar in the game because Prince Naseem Hamed was the first superstar coming from the lower weight divisions because he had that Mike Tyson power with the Muhammad Ali reflexes and cocky attitude. And, you know, for y'all information, Prince Nassim Hamed was very humble, you know, as a fighter behind the cameras. That's why I said Floyd Mayweather was like, man, this dude humble as shit. And he out here acting hard as hell on camera. I'm going to do the same thing. And obviously he took that villain persona and he became Money May after being Pretty Boy Floyd. That being said, what you got to say about what I said, you know, about Manny and stuff like that, you know, making the case for Manny, because you picked Manny, right?
I got Manny like for a hard-fought 12-round decision.
You don't think Prince Nassim gonna put him to sleep with one of the big shots coming?
I can't see it.
I mean, Marquez, let's not forget about it. Marquez, you know, Manny's one of my favorite fighters of all time. Now,
yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but Marquez, even at featherweight, he gave Manny a hard time.
He gave him a hard time, but he was a lot more technical than the Prince. And he did knock him out that last time, but this was after fighting somebody for 4 different times.
He was catching him with that same punch that he knocked him out with throughout every fight. And Morales beat Manny Pacquiao. When I believe Morales was kind of toward the end of his career as well, because the Barrera and Morales they've been in too much war.
Well, no,
it affected them.
What's the common trait for all of those fighters is that they were right-handed fighters who had an educated jab and had a good counter right hand, and that just wasn't Prince Nassim's kind of natural thing.
You're sleeping on Prince Nassim Hamed right-handed stand. He knocked out the #1 featherweight at the time when he was 22, and he knocked out Boom Boom Johnson, being an orthodox fighter with a counter uppercut. I'm saying Prince Nassim Hamed could fight multiple ways. He could fight 5 different ways. He could fight an orthodox fighter, a southpaw fighter, and he could give you 2 different looks. So it's like almost. I
tried. He's one of my. I've seen maybe not, if not all his fights, probably at least 90% of his fights. I love watching him fight. I just couldn't understand somebody that
talented.
That diminutive who could generate that much power. And yeah. I just couldn't understand it.
He punched like a middleweight.
For me, and he was somebody who he had a whole brand of entertainment that he brought to boxing that was beautiful for boxing. I mean, I loved. He was a lightning rod for the criticism, but he was something that boxing needed at the time. Yeah. I still just in my objective opinion.
Well, we need him today, not then. We have Mike Tyson and all of them then. If Prince Nassim Hamed is around in social media, doing the flip over the rope, dancing in the flying carpet, coming in as a prince or a king, whatever, and comes and knocks somebody out. The audacity to do that. Like, fighters don't even have the confidence to talk shit, let alone talk shit, dance to the ring, flip over the rope, and knock somebody the fuck out while your hands is down and making a miss, not blocking a single punch. That being said, that was impressive. But like I said, I love Pacquiao, but I feel like he just made too many mistakes for the Prince. And when you box, I mean, like, you box, you're going to get hit. You swim, you're going to get drowned if you fighting the Prince, because, you know, all it takes is one. And I believe at Prince Nassim Hamed best. I'm not saying when he fought Barrera, because the version when he fought Barrera, I believe will lose to Pacquiao all day. I'm saying the best version.
How come that wasn't his best, though? What did you see in that?
Man, he couldn't. Bro, I seen Prince Nassim Hamed. He had footwork. Prince Nassim Hamed had footwork in his prime or toward early in his career. He had footwork. He was elusive. You see head movement. You see him pumping the jab. You see him coming with counters. When he fought Barrera, he was stuck in the mud. He couldn't, like, he didn't even move his feet. He was getting caught with jabs all night. He was looking like he looking for one punch all night, but he wasn't trying to set it up like he normally do. Like I said, before that fight, he was struggling to make weight. I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but he didn't even make excuses. Like he didn't make excuses after the fight. He took his loss like a man. But I'm saying at the end of the day, facts matter. Like, the man struggled to make weight. He relied on his power a lot. He didn't train like he was supposed to. Did you see the interview where
I watched the whole, like, there's a documentary called I forgot the name, but it's about the whole Marco Antonio Barrera fight against Prince Nassim. So it goes back there, and it really, to me, it just showed somebody who was turning into a bit of a narcissist, and he was just kind of feeling himself. Like he he had this whole thing he did with the gloves, which I thought was ridiculous, and just gave you some insight into his mindset.
Kind of like Floyd did with
no. He went and got some specially ordered gloves that were of goat skin, and they were the color of green because green represents Islam, right? Or to a effect. Yeah. So they asked him. So he went and got it specially ordered. He went and got these gloves. So when they had the gloves come in, they had some other gloves for Marco Antonio Barrera, and he was just like, well, let me see these gloves. And then so Marco had already chose his gloves because Prince had his gloves specially ordered. And then Prince was just like, nah, like I want these gloves. And it was just like, no, like those are the gloves that Marco Antonio Barrera chose. He was just like, no, it's like I get first choice of the gloves, so I want these gloves. But then he made a whole big ordeal of this to the fact that they ended up both, if you watch the match, they ended up both wearing red gloves because they couldn't decide. And then when he was getting his hands wrapped before the fight, he made everybody wait about 45 minutes because he was just, it doesn't feel right. It just, do this. Like, no, we're going to make everybody wait. And he was acting like a little spoiled prince.
Well, let me explain this. It's like what Sugar Ray Leonard said one time. He said he would look in the mirror, and if he sees Sugar Ray Leonard, the fighter, he knows he's going to go in the ring and he won't lose to nobody. And sometimes he will look every now and then, every blue moon, he will look in the mirror and he will see Sugar Ray. He won't see Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah. Now he will see, I think he said he will see Leonard. He won't see Sugar Ray, right?
Yeah.
That's where he know he's going to lose, and he lost every time. I believe Prince Nassim Hamed was so confident throughout his career. And that night, we all know he had his hand broke before that. That's why he took a layoff. His longest layoff before the Barrera fight. It wasn't that long of a layoff, but still was a layoff for the Prince. And when he broke his hand, he was wary about breaking his hand again and all that, right? But the reason he did all that is it goes back to that. When he looked in the mirror, he didn't see the Prince. He saw NAZ. He saw Lil Nas. That's what I believe, because when he was walking in the arena, I didn't see the confidence. I didn't see like Prince. I didn't see him laugh. I didn't see his confidence. I didn't see his energy. It was like he was down. Like, just go back and watch the fight and peep his energy and peep his energy in other fights. That's why I said he was defeated before the fight. And I was surprised that Barrera didn't stop him because he struggled to make the weight. Didn't you see Stewart when he went to visit him in camp 2 weeks before the fight? Mm-hmm. And he saw him getting beat up by a sparring partner. Come on, man.
They brought in 2 sparring partners.
And they was beating him up, man. How you gonna
But like part of it was like Prince doing Prince stuff. He was like jumping up doing stuff, and I'm like, what is he doing?
That's what I'm saying.
Part of it was like
everybody could have an off night, but if you don't take the fight seriously against a legendary fighter like Barrera, man, you're gonna have not an off night, a fucked up night, because you out here. Barrera is training in the mountains. Yeah. Training, Barrera said that was his hardest training camp. That training camp and Morales' first fight, I believe, he trained his ass off for that. And Barrera stated 3 camps.
He went out to Big Bear.
Prince Nassim Hamed, the Morales fight, and the Marquez fight. He went and trained so hard for them fights. He said Prince Nassim Hamed's fight was one of his hardest training camps and all that, right? He's training as hard as he can. Prince Nassim Hamed out here playing around. Now, what you're doing in the sparring is how you're going to look in the ring.
Exactly.
He out here playing around. Like Prince Nassim Hamed, I know how I heard stories before, like in sparring, like what he looked like. He knocked his partners out. He knocks his partners out. In that fight in particular, they was beating him up. Stewart was like, what is he doing? That's what I'm saying. He didn't take the fight seriously. He was watching tapes.
I don't see how you not take a fight seriously.
The man was watching tapes of Barrera getting knocked out by Roy Jones Jr., not Roy Jones, but Roy Jones Jr. Like a decade ago, Stewart was telling him, don't listen to your trainer. Like, have you seen Barrera lately against Morales and how he look? He's a boxer now. And he wasn't a boxer then, but I'm saying Barrera, when he fought the Prince, he switched his style. He went from Mexican style to Muhammad Ali style.
Well, he had already made that transition.
Yeah, but Prince wasn't. He was watching the fights between him and Roy Jones and shit. So imagine you over here going in a fight thinking the dude going to come to you and you're going to catch him with a shot and knock him out like Roy Jones Jr. did. And the dude out here looking like Muhammad Ali japping you all night. Prince Nassim got confused. So he wasn't prepared. He was lacking. And like I said, that's why he really lost that fight. But forget about that fight in particular. I'm just saying, you can't judge him based on that fight because everything went wrong that night. Like the lead up to the fight, everything. So you got to judge him based on his accomplishment, because if we're going to do the same thing to Pacquiao, we're going to talk about the Marquez loss. We can't talk about that. We got to talk about Pacquiao when he beat Barrera and all them guys, right? So I believe that Pacquiao version, when he, obviously was missing a right hand almost, I think Prince Nassim Hamed will adjust and counter the left hand. And Prince Nassim Hamed, one thing he did say, he loved fighting southpaws. He said that's one of his favorite things is to fight southpaws because he could set them for that knockout blow. And we know what time it is with Prince Nassim Hamed. With his power, if he lands, you got to go. That being said, he just got to land right one time. So that being said, any last thoughts on that before we leave? Because Prince Nassim Hamed, man, that's what got me into the sport. And then obviously I already knew Muhammad Ali. But when I watched Prince, man, I used early in the morning, hey, peep this. So early in the morning, my family, I used to be a baby. You know what I'm saying? I got to go to sleep. At 8 o'clock in the morning, I got a curfew. Prince Nassim Hamed back in Yemen, I got to watch the fight. The fight would come on at 5 o'clock in the morning, like certain fights of his. Early in the morning, like 5 o'clock. Man, family stay up, we'll party and all that. Man, I got to take my ass to sleep. You know what I do? I act like I'm asleep. And then when the fight is on, like I'm in my, you know what I'm saying, my mom, you know what I mean, holding me and shit, I peep the fight. Like I open my one eye, like, and watch the fight and shit. Like I remember that. I don't remember the fight, but I remember opening my eyes and all that. So that's what got me to the sport. I watched them, like,
that's what's up.
You know what I mean? Then Muhammad Ali, obviously, he was just too popular. You know, like Muhammad Ali is just like the most popular fighter in the world. I knew Muhammad Ali before I seen him, like. That name, and then when I seen him, I'm like, that looked like Muhammad Ali. I ain't even know Muhammad Ali. Like, I never seen him. It's just that it's so crazy, man. But anyways, any last thoughts on that?
Yeah, I just want to say, so the fight that you were talking about is Junior Jones, when you were saying like Roy Jones or something.
Oh, Roy, I said Roy Jones. My bad. Junior Jones.
It's Junior Jones.
Okay, Junior Jones.
Yeah. So he did beat Marco Antonio Barrera
he
twice.
knocked him out. Yeah, he knocked. So he was watching that when that happened like a decade ago, instead of watching what you were supposed to fight. So it was kind of his trainer fault, like that not Stewart, the other one. He had two trainers. So
yeah,
I feel like
the guy that used to train Oscar De La Hoya.
And keep in mind, after the
I think Oscar Suarez.
Yeah, and after the Kevin Kelly fight, if you peep this, he left his old time trainer that trained him the style, the awkward style in the UK in Sheffield. He left him. He had a problem or two with him. Left his promotional company too, and became his own promoter, and he brought his own trainer, and his new trainer made him more basic. Like he made him he made him more basic as a southpaw.
I actually like that. I
didn't like that because what made
that's
Prince,
a good point.
What made Prince unique is his awkwardness. Is like the fact that like Sean Porter today, what make Sean Porter hard is he's hard to prepare for. You don't got no fighter that's gonna act like Sean Porter in sparring. Prince Nassim Hamed, who you gonna bring into sparring that's gonna act like the Prince? So his moves, like he won't counter the jab by a straight left like Pacquiao. He will slip the jab and counter with like a wild uppercut.
Yeah, and
so that's
you
what
can
made
keep
him
some
unique.
of that, but like I think as he rose up in competition when he came here, like some of that got exploited. So to me, his best fight was, I think it was
Tom Johnson. I think that's what
you did that. No, let me show
you. He looked invincible in that fight. That fight and Robertson when he first won the title, I believe that was a great fight. And the fight before, or the fight, his 23 fight, that was a great fight too for him. But he had a lot of great fights.
It was the one where he was real technical. It was
when he before Bungu, yeah.
Bungu was that's one of my, and that was probably one of his least kind of out there. That guy was just so, and I was like, that guy right there is scary.
Nah, that version of
that
Prince,
guy right there,
that dedicated jab and the wild uppercuts, because you know what he was doing? He would throw a jab, and then he would act like he would throw a jab, but midway he would turn it to an uppercut and a hook, and then he killed that dude. But I'm saying that version of Prince, I believe knocks out Barrera. I believe he knocks out what's his name, Manny Pacquiao. But the problem with Prince, like I said, he left his trainer, and the new trainer made him more basic, so he became more predictable. Imagine this unpredictable fighter that throws counters you don't see coming. You know, when you used to seeing a counter come like this, but comes like that, now you be like, oh shit, you don't see it coming. That's why he used to knock fighters out. But when he made him more basic, I believe he made him more average. And then Prince wasn't training as hard, so he didn't even have that stamina and where he gonna be able to use his feet all night like he did in his prime. So it's more of he fell in love with his own hype and he stopped doing what got him to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that. My favorite quote: hard work beat talent when talent doesn't work as hard. That being said, on to the next topic. Beterbiev versus Alexander. Did you see the fight this past weekend? Beterbiev knocked him out in the, I believe, 11th round.
I didn't. I watched the highlights for it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell you what happened real quick. It was close, very close, but Alexander couldn't keep Beterbiev off of him. And then in the 10th round, it was a close fight. Don't get me wrong. Mm-hmm. He landed a Mayweather jab to the body. Like, he stabbed him to the body. And that's all she wrote. Like, after that, he was really bothered by the body shot. He actually walked away trying to say it's the gloves. Yeah. It was the body shot. He was trying to kind of breathe. And then Beterbiev kind of peeped it. And he kind of went after him and then dropped him like 3 times or something like that. So, it was a very close fight, though. Now, what
this
you think about
168?
175. So
170,
Beterbiev
is light heavyweight.
So he a unified champion at 175. And now Beterbiev is 15-0 with 15 knockouts, but his defense is questionable. And he's a good fighter, don't get me wrong. He got a lot of power. Now, Canelo Alvarez looking at these monsters, since he out here fighting Kovalev on his way out the door, he fight a guy like Beterbiev on his way to the door.
With his name, I know him because I'm a kind of a boxing diehard, and I've seen his fights. He's still a bit raw to me. One of the things that I looked at with fighters is how they progress from fight to fight. And then for me, I haven't seen that much progression from him, and it might be because of the competition that he has or the lack of competition. So when I give examples of Canelo, like, there was you could see the distinct progression in his fighting style and his fighting abilities. You saw that with Manny Pacquiao. With Mayweather was such a wizard that it wasn't necessarily like a progression. He just showed different tricks, like when he did it. And then with Roy Jones Jr., I think he was somebody who was just so athletically gifted that he kind of
every rule in the book.
He did, but he kind of almost came in at a peak level where it wasn't this kind of upward trajectory. Like, he was at this kind of plateaued level that he stayed at for a decade and a half, essentially. So I think it was a good win. I don't necessarily think it does anything for the light heavyweight division at this point. I think that he can, because of that win, he could stake claim to, I want the winner of the Alvarez Kovalev fight in there, and I think he's going to push to be I think he's going to push to be the mandatory. So he's going to say that if I don't get that, then you're going to do that. Mandatory? It can. So the thing is, he's only a champion in the.
Professor Nim, speak a little bit farther from the mic because
it's
very loud for some reason.
All right, so he's only a champion for whatever sanctioning body that is. So the other ones, he's just ranked, right? So as long as you're the number one person, you can still be the mandatory in there. So I mean, those are my views on it.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, I would love to see it, but Canelo Alvarez, he's not about to do that. We all know he's looking for the easy check and the easy big fight and make legacy the easiest way possible. That's how he maneuvered for the past.
Let me ask you this question. So if you had a choice, you was managing Canelo, and so he goes and he beats Kovalev, right? Do you go and fight Beterbiev, or do you go down to 160 and fight somebody like a Charlo?
Well, if I'm his manager,
man,
I'll put him down to 160 because he ain't belonging in 175 because, You know, obviously he's just doing that because Kovalev is on his way out the door. If I'm his manager, I still put him down to the 160-pound division because he's just not a 175-pounder. And then, come on now, like the dude is 5'10" or something, man. He would get killed in the ring with a Beterbiev, especially if he he hurt the dude to the body with the jab. So imagine if you stick Canelo Alvarez with them jabs, and Canelo already got stamina issues. Man, he ain't gonna be able to keep the pace and keep Beterbiev off of him. Like,
that's a good point. And I actually remember when we talked about that. I actually picked Kovalev in that fight but
what do you mean?
Actually picked Kovalev to beat Alvarez in that fight.
You did?
Yeah.
I thought you picked Canelo.
Nah, go back and watch the tape.
Man, you ain't gonna get that golden boy check.
You
ain't gonna get that golden boy check. You better.
One thing I want to remember. So you and I, we met Roy Jones.
Yeah.
Right. So like, what did anything kind of like post? So Roy Jones
Roy
fought at
Jones
heavyweight.
wasn't that tall, man. He was short as hell.
Exactly.
I was like, man,
So he was like
you, Roy. What's
that's
up?
what I'm saying. Nah,
Stop
you don't want that
smoke me, man.
But at the same time, that's what I'm saying. So I think I don't even think Alvarez is 5'10".
I think with age you get shorter.
5'8".
I think with age you might get shorter or something, man. Because I don't know how the hell he fought at heavyweight being that short. Yeah. Coming up in weight, I think he probably got shorter with weight with time and shit. I don't know, man. But if how tall is Roy?
I think they had him listed at 5'11" or something like that.
Man,
Which
I would have been
not too far off. I mean,
I'm 6'2". I'm 170 naturally walking around. Imagine if I cut weight, I could make 154. At 6'2", shit, I whip some fighters at 154. I should have been a boxing in. Like if that's how the height goes.
Well, I mean,
I don't know what's going on.
It doesn't equate to
man. I got power at 154, man. I boxed one of these casual fans for free. Real talk. That being said, so moving on to the next topic, greatest Hispanic fighter of all time. Talk to me, Professor Nam. Who you guys the greatest Hispanic fighter of all time?
I am going to go with Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. I want to make sure I make that distinction.
I'm about to say Junior.
I'm going to go with him. So just pulling up some of his records or whatnot.
Well, don't do that. Please don't.
He was 107-6.
Don't pronounce that victory where he was 49-0 and fought a fighter with his professional debut.
Well, yeah, I mean he did, but I want to say he won his first, was it like 100 bouts or something?
Yeah, he lost
because he was it couldn't have been 100, so I think it was his first 90 or
80,
something.
80,
bouts.
But he lost to Tarver around his 70 fight though.
Well, he lost to Frankie Randall. This was in 1994. That was his first loss. Was Frankie Randall?
Yeah, but the real loss when they robbed my man in the 12th round.
Oh, yeah. So you're talking about Mildred Taylor.
Oh man, my bad.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Roy Jones and shit.
Yeah.
Taylor, they robbed him in the 12th round.
That was a travesty. That was actually after the Frankie Randall fight.
That was after?
Yeah. Oh, well, actually, no. That was the second Mildred Taylor fight was after.
Yeah, and then he lost to Pernell Whitaker, but he still was a great fighter. He had a lot of he fought Roy Jones. He fought Floyd Mayweather. No, not Mayweather. Roger Mayweather, his uncle. But that dude, he was beating him before.
He stopped him, right?
Yeah, he stopped him the first time in a rematch. Roger Mayweather was getting the best of him till he got tired. He got tired of hitting him and he quit on the stool. But man, the man was beating him. You know what I mean? So that's why I kind of am iffy about Roy Jones. I mean, Chavez Sr. But he's one of the greatest Hispanic fighters of all time. I still will put. Probably a Barrera or Morales or
over
Marquez.
Over Chavez?
I believe, I don't know, they showed me more. I mean, I don't know, like, Chavez lost a lot of his big fights, like with Pernell Whitaker. He got schooled twice. Like, my favorite fighter of all time, and not my favorite, I think the best Hispanic fighter of all time is Salvador Sanchez. I feel like Salvador Sanchez just had it all. He was just very fluid. He was a fighter that had a lot of power, great speed. IQ was on another level, could fight in the inside, outside, not just one way. He wasn't limited just to going forward like Chavez. Chavez was just too limited, in my opinion. So if you could, beat him in his own game, he got beat. If you could outbox him, he got beat. So Salvador Sanchez, on the other hand, he fought the best when the fights was 15 rounds. Man, he would go 15 rounds and knock you out in the 15 round in a war. You know what I'm saying? That he's winning. So he had that type of a heart. Salvador Sanchez was a top fighter that switched positions. Man, check out Salvador Sanchez if you didn't know, because he's a fighter. He would switch positions offensively and defensively. So if you're moving around, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, instead of him making 5 steps, he will switch his stance and catch you with a left hook. Or you just watch his highlights on that. Y'all gonna know what I'm talking about.
So are you saying, because I want to be clear, so are we talking about the greatest Hispanic or greatest Mexican?
Hispanic.
So we might need to revisit it. I mean, so that means that we got to think about all the Cuban fighters who came through.
Shit. We got to think about Cuban
all
fighters.
Dominican and stuff.
Well, it
like
ain't that many Cuban fighters that turn pro, though. Only Rigondeaux and Gamboa that's really out there.
There was a great middleweight back in the day. I mean, I'm not sure I'll put him over.
I mean, I still will stay with Salvador Sanchez for me for a Hispanic fighter. Like Duran, I don't think he's Hispanic. You know,
he's Panamanian.
He's not Hispanic.
How is Panamanian not Hispanic? What are you talking about?
Oh, that's Hispanic.
Yeah.
Well, damn. I still would say Salvador Sanchez is better than Duran in my opinion. Duran lost to Sugar Ray Leonard.
He beat Sugar Ray Leonard,
but he still lost to him twice after that. He lost to Hagler, Hearn. He lost all the big fights, but he won a lot of big fights as well. But
he
the main
at
fights,
135 though.
But
you gotta remember
fights,
that.
Yeah,
all those fights he lost were at welterweight and up.
Yeah. I still will say Salvador Sanchez though.
Okay.
In my opinion, Salvador Sanchez
just
had all the attributes, in my opinion, like fighting in the inside outside.
Yeah.
He was very fluid and just looked like a fighter that could do it all. And
if you haven't seen him, go look him up on YouTube. He's a very fluid, smooth fighter. He actually doesn't fight in the prototypical Mexican style. But
rest in peace.
You
know, he had a tragedy. But
he died.
You know, so he didn't even really finish his pro career like that. But with what he showed, I believe that's enough because, man, he showed enough against top level opponents, and he always managed to come up on top impressively, not just win, but knock him out. After a war sometimes after a dominant performance. Man, he was just too impressive. You got to watch the man, man. Salvador Sanchez, one of the greatest fighters of all time, period. Not just Hispanic fighters.
Facts.
Ryan Garcia now. Imagine going from Salvador Sanchez to Ryan Garcia.
Twin,
Hold on.
Right? That's your little brother right there.
Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney. Is that our next Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya? Can it get to that level?
It can get to that level.
And if not, why not? If so, why so?
Well, one is that you got to think about when Floyd Mayweather fought Oscar De La Hoya, you had the universally recognized top boxer, most skilled boxer out there, and you also, and then conversely, you had the undoubtedly stated like the cash cow of boxing. So you had people clashing at the height of their popularity and then at the height of their kind of boxing prowess. And there's nothing to me that's saying that Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney they're definitely not at that point. Now, can they reach that? They're going to have to make tremendous strides in what they're doing in their career. Ryan Garcia, I think, is just a knockout waiting to happen. Devin Haney, I'm serious, like he is. And then Devin Haney has some good tools about him. He has some good. I think he needs to have a couple of noteworthy wins on his record.
You're looking for that Lomachenko smoke.
Actually don't. I think he's just doing a little bluffing on that, but
he ain't bluffing. He actually pursuing the fight. Like he really wants to fight.
He wants that fight.
He's the mandatory, and he said he don't want it. He don't want it.
He could give Lomachenko with his range and his height.
It's Lomachenko. It's Lomachenko that's ducking the fight because they about to make him the franchise champion, and then he's gonna give up the belt.
Okay.
So anyways, I believe, like you said, I believe Devin Haney gonna get the farther of the two, obviously. Just like Floyd Mayweather got the father of Oscar De La Hoya. That's a no-brainer. But I don't know if Ryan Garcia can keep up with an Oscar De La Hoya pace when he fought a lot of great fighters. Yeah, he maneuvered around some fighters and ducked some fighters or didn't give fighters rematches, but he still fought a lot of meaningful fights, a lot of fights that the fans want him to see him against, and you know he was up for the challenge. So
he fought
I don't know
all comers.
I don't know if Ryan Garcia is going to be able to do that skill wise. You know, he might have the heart. He's calling out the Tank Davis of the world. He's calling out the Devin Haney's. But the problem, man, it's like people, we don't believe you. You need more people. Yeah, he got enough people on Instagram, but the boxing fans are like, man, we don't believe in you. We got to see what you're going to look like. Now we're going to see what he looked like against Dono. If he do dominate Dono, I believe he on his way. However, if he struggle against Dono or get stopped, or lose or robs Dono, now that's going to make him look bad because you got Devin Haney. He doing what he's supposed to.
Yeah.
Devin Haney is out here looking like Pretty Boy Floyd. I ain't saying he Pretty Boy Floyd. Ain't nobody is Pretty Boy Floyd, but he looked like Devin Haney. Like, he looking like Floyd Mayweather prodigy a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, you got Shakur Stevenson. I believe that might be the mega fight. It's Shakur versus Devin Haney if they could meet somewhere, because Shakur, I don't know if he could grow into the height of Devin Haney. Devin Haney is straddled. He grown fast, man. He bigger than Crawford when they faced off, and Crawford fights at 147. So Devin Haney, that's a big boy, you know what I'm saying? So I believe Devin Haney will fight at 160 one day. So
yeah,
can Shakur catch him and become a star or a superstar and fight before he moves up to 160, because I don't see Shakur moving that far. However, him and Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia, they by the same height, where I believe they could actually manage to be around the same weight. Yeah. Him and Lopez too. You know, Lopez, he's kind of big, but I just believe, I don't believe in. I feel like Devin Haney got to show me more. I like Devin Haney. I like what he brings to the sport. All these, young fans, all these girls that like him and all that, but that's all good and dandy. However, you got to show the boxing fans that you can fight. You ain't a fluke.
Garcia?
Yeah, Ryan Garcia. Yeah.
Garcia, yeah.
Devin Haney showed that he can. Devin Haney calling out Lomachenko. He ain't scared of nobody. Man, shit, he calling out Tank Davis. He said, I want to fight Tank Davis. He said Floyd Mayweather know what's up. He said he saw me spar Tank Davis. He told Floyd Mayweather smarter than that. He ain't going to feed me Tank Davis. He trying to act like Tank Davis is food. So I'm saying Devin Haney got the confidence to go with his skill. Ryan Garcia, I don't know if he got the confidence, if it's a show or not, but even if he does got the confidence, does he have the skills in order to make it that far? Because Floyd Mayweather, like you said, he was pound for pound #1 by that time. No question. It ain't like arguments or none of that.
No
and
question.
Oscar De La Hoya, one of the biggest star of the time, obviously, no question. And Floyd Mayweather beat him, and that's what made him money made. Meanwhile, Devin Haney, I believe he probably could get to that, where he could be pound for pound #1. However, can Ryan Garcia catch up? Or can Ryan Garcia beat no names where he could build up his name? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. If he could be champion at 135 and 140, even 147, he don't even got to beat nobody like big. You know what I'm saying? As long as he beats some fighters, it will be sort of a big fight close to the Floyd Mayweather versus Oscar De La Hoya. But I don't think they will.
He just needs to not get knocked out in just
impressive
crazy,
fashion,
crazy fashion, and he could keep some viability to his career. I just think,
especially if he can stay undefeated.
I just hate the way he holds up his chin.
Yeah, and doesn't have that much of an inside game, like in my opinion. So I believe. It will never be as big as Floyd versus Oscar, because I don't think he's as good as Oscar. I don't think he's going to fight them big names like that and win. And I don't think Devin Haney, I don't think he is good as Floyd either. No. But you never know.
The greatest boxer of our generation.
So it ain't, if Floyd Mayweather is Michael Jordan and Devin Haney is LeBron, ain't nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying, I don't think he's a Floyd Mayweather. Not what I'm seeing. He don't have the accuracy and the power and the speed of what Floyd had, in his prime as a pretty boy Floyd.
Floyd looked like magic when he was during his prime. It's like, I like what I see out of Devin Haney, but I don't watch him and think like that's magic that's going on in the ring. When I watched Floyd, when I first started watching boxing, I I was just blown away. I was like, what is he doing? It looks nothing like what these other boxers are doing. He just
Floyd
clearly separated himself.
I think Floyd used to flow on water, man. I don't know what he was doing, but he was like Jesus, man. The man would go in the ring. He put that holy shit on you, and like he had your numbers, man, and like he will figure you out, man. Floyd just on some other level. And that's no discredit to Devin Haney. That's actually praising
exactly.
Devin Haney when you talk about Floyd Mayweather and Devin Haney in the same breath.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That being said, last two topics. Paulie came out and said, he believes Spence beat Porter, but he said, I don't know why people tripping. It's because, Porter have that style where he makes everybody look, bad. That just as long you have a win against Porter, that's automatically a good win in his book, because Porter has a difficult style and nobody fights like Porter. And then when he was mentioning, or when he got asked who you have winning, Terrence Crawford or Errol Spence, do you think that changed or change your opinion? He said absolutely not, because they two different styles. Nobody fights like Porter, and the reason Errol Spence didn't look so good against Porter is because it's Porter. Basically, what he's saying is if Porter fight Terrence Crawford will look bad as well. That being said, what you think about what Paulie said? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And what's your thoughts on Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford? Is the Porter fight gave you a clue that Terrence could beat Errol Spence, or do you believe that that have nothing to do with it? You don't play that triangle theory, style make fights, and we'll see when we get to that.
No, I don't think it gives us any insight into how that fight will play out. But I still feel that I think that Terrence will be more decisive in beating Porter. It doesn't mean that I think that Terrence will beat Errol Spence face to face. I just think that the mental adjustments that Terrence is able to make, the way that he fights and the things, and he won't get caught up too much into this bravado, that it'll be a little bit cleaner than the decision against that Errol Spence had against Porter. With that said, with that fight, I'm still.
But who are you picking?
Like Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford.
Who you picking?
Right now,
you gotta put your
I'm
house
gonna
on
go
it.
with.
You gotta put your house on it. What you gonna?
I'm gonna go with Errol Spence. I just think that his body punching, his body work, and right now that might change in like 6 months. That might change in 6 months.
You cannot be an Errol Spence hater and pick Errol Spence, man.
When have I ever been an Errol Spence hater?
Everybody think you're an Errol Spence hater, man.
No. Listen, like you can still be an objective observer of boxing and not be a hater. Just
give Lomachenko that same work. You know what I'm saying?
I don't give Lomachenko. I said that he got worked over by Salido and all, and I said that I got him and Terrence up there.
You said he knocked out Martinez.
He did knock out Rocky Martinez.
Man, Gamboa knocked out Martinez. You were saying that like, I knock out Martinez. Give me Martinez. I knock him out sparring.
Martinez is a champion, and he knocked him out in devastating fashion
Salido
with a right hook. But
he wasn't even a champion. Salido beat him leading up to that fight, and they robbed Salido in that fight and gave that win to Martinez. I believe that's how I think what took place. And then Lomachenko fought Martinez instead of Salido,
and bodied him.
And Gamboa bodied him in 2 rounds. It took Lomachenko 5 rounds. That being said, I believe Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence. That's a pick 'em fight, man. I don't know.
Go ahead, pick him. You made me pick, but you're not gonna pick.
I'm saying, hold on. Let me say why.
Okay.
I believe if Porter fight Terrence Crawford, it will make that fight will be difficult as well. I believe Terrence Crawford wins that fight 8 rounds to 4. Just like Errol Spence did without a knockdown.
Yeah.
However, I believe Terrence will fight his fight, and he's just gonna lose 4 rounds because Porter has that style where he's just make it uncomfortable for Terrence. But I believe Terrence will make the right adjustments and still win the fight 8 rounds to 4. That being said, in the Errol Spence fight, I believe Porter fighting such a fast pace that you can't think. Like I seen when Errol Spence fought Mikey, a guy that fight at a certain pace, like a thinker.
A measured pace, yeah.
Yeah, Errol was varying his offense, where it was hard to counter him. And I believe that's what will happen against the Terrence Crawford. Errol Spence will fight at a pace where he's comfortable and able to think. And Errol Spence just let punches fly while he's thinking at the same time. I believe Terrence Crawford doesn't let punches fly. He thinks before he let a punch fly. I believe Errol Spence, he still let his hands go while he's thinking and making adjustments. And I think that's what's going to give Errol Spence the edge in that fight because he has the size advantage a little bit. And I believe he also, the fact that he could think while he working, it's going to look good to the judges. And that's why it's very hard to be an Errol Spence because he's such an active fighter while he's a hard hitter and a combination puncher. But when I saw Terrence versus Beterbiev, for example, I saw Terrence was being like a little cautious, which he should because Beterbiev was fast. But at the same time, he wasn't letting his punches fly as he should, like the jab pumping it all day while he was thinking and making his adjustments. So I believe that fact will give Errol Spence the upper hand a little bit in that fight. Yeah. Do you want any last thoughts on that?
I think that's an excellent point. When we do some training with the University Boxing Club, and one of the things that I tell people is that when you're resting, rest with your jab. When if you're trying to figure out the stuff, work behind your jab and do those things. So like those are, and Errol does those things to a T. So even if he's tired, he's still pumping his jab out.
And he don't get tired. That's the problem.
And
he don't get tired.
But it's not even tired. But when you throw a combination, you have to get your win.
Yeah.
So you don't want to give any type of implication that you might be doing that, but you still can just almost just second nature.
And he have that second nature of Errol Spence. Like that's what I always tell people. When you first box, the hardest thing to do is figure out, it's like Bruce Lee said, boxing, it's like water. You got to adjust. If the water, you put it on the floor, it becomes the floor. You put it on the bottle, it becomes the bottle.
Yeah, you put it in the cup, it takes on that form.
Yeah, boxing is the same way. It's like putting the water in a dish and the water flowing. So when the water hits something, it comes back. So boxing, when you throw a punch, you always got to anticipate a counter coming. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So you got to get your mind to think, as soon as I throw a punch, he's going to counter me. So what is he going to throw for me in order for me to avoid it, right? So that thinking alone, if you have to think that when you sparring, you're going to get countered. Because that automatically got to be saved in your brain. That's why I tell people that before sparring, just so they could get have a head or two, before sparring. Errol Spence, like I said, the fact that he let punches fly and he thinks at the same time, that's going to serve him well against the counter puncher like Terrence, who likes to think before throwing, which might give Errol Spence the upper hand because if they even and Errol Spence is working more, throwing more jabs, that could give you the win according to the judges.
And that body work.
Yeah, and that body work, man. Ain't no joke.
Body work is
ridiculous. Now, last topic of the day. We got, or maybe if you could squeeze in another topic real quick, but this is more important. We got Porter versus Manny Pacquiao. Now, every time we made a video, man, these Pacquiao fans come at us talking about we hating. Or
they don't come at me.
Man, because you out here, they be thinking you the leader of the Pac-Tars. That's not a good thing.
I'm objective. I like ride on a flight of facts or whatnot when I'm going out there.
This is not, they don't care about being objective. They being racist. They just hate the fact that I'm telling it like it is. I'm spitting the truth, and they out here allergic to the truth. That's why they hating me. But I'm saying they mad at me saying Errol Spence wins or knock him out. They mad at you because you picked Errol Spence to win against Manny Pacquiao too. Yeah. But let's talk about Manny Pacquiao versus Porter because they keep saying, oh, Errol Spence look exposed against Porter. Now, Porter today, the way he looked against Errol Spence, against the Manny Pacquiao today, I ain't talking about prime Manny Pacquiao. I'm talking about today if they fought, who wins and why?
A Porter against Pacquiao?
Give me the name first so you could get this hate too. You out here trying to save yourself.
Nah, I'm trying to analyze the fight in my head. And I think that's you know what? I'm thinking about that. And I'm going to go out on a limb.
You thinking a little
I'm going to go out
on
a limb and I'm going to go with Pac. Like my first thought was Porter. because I just think I thought that Porter was just too, his physicality and his endurance and stamina would just be too much for Pacquiao. But I could see Porter running into something. I could definitely see Porter running into something. And I'm going to go out on a limb. And I'm going to take a 40-year-old Pacquiao over Porter. Knockout.
All right. Well, hey, you out here. They're going to think you out here the leader of the Pac-Tars now. For real, saying that shit. Nah, like, let's speak. Let's get off our feelings. Let's not fall into the hype. Style make fights. Yes, Manny Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman and Porter lost to Keith Thurman. But at the end of the day, Thurman that lost to Pacquiao wasn't the same Thurman that fought Porter. That's first of all. Second of all, Thurman always had the style that Manny Pacquiao likes, which is, fighter that likes to fight in the outside, keep his range. And Manny Pacquiao love that shit. Meanwhile, Porter got the style that Manny Pacquiao hate. Now, I had Manny Pacquiao beating Jeff Horn, but I thought Jeff Horn exposed a lot of things for a 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao, and that's his inside game. He's not comfortable in the inside. He was bullying Pacquiao on the ropes. He was throwing Pacquiao on the ropes, hitting him with so many clean punches. I didn't like what I was seeing. So Porter, the way he fought Errol Spence, will kill a guy like Manny Pacquiao at this point in his career, because I don't think Manny could keep up the pace of Porter. That's one thing, because we saw him get gassed out a little bit toward the end of the Keith Thurman fight. And then the fact that he don't have inside game, the inside punching and the inside fighting and his just physically how he impulsive on you. Porter would just be too much for Manny Pacquiao at this point in his career. And it's Manny who got knocked out before. It ain't Porter. Porter never got knocked out. So you say he gonna catch him coming in.
He can catch him.
And even
Clean that
Spence,
clock.
Even Errol Spence, and I got Errol Spence knocking out Manny, couldn't even knock out Sean Porter. He dropped him. He almost knocked him out, but he couldn't knock him out. He knocked him down. It was man down, but he couldn't keep the man down. You know what I'm saying? He got up. So Manny, I don't see him at this point in his career, dropping, having the power to drop Sean Porter, especially the way
Rona dropped Porter.
It don't matter. Porter got a chin. He recovers. Thurman couldn't knock him out. Errol Spence with all the body
Garcia
shots and all them clean punches like Porter. Ain't nobody knocking out Porter. Porter used to fight at 175, 168 as a pro. Like, come on now. Like, this dude is big. He moved down in weight. Manny Pacquiao moved up in weight. This dude moved down in weight to make 147. So I see Porter inside game is the wrong style for Manny Pacquiao. If Jeff Horn gave Manny Pacquiao hell, what you think Porter gonna do? Porter gonna take him to that Porter school where it's gonna be more Porter than Manny ever seen. And Manny sparred Porter, so Manny knows what Porter's like. So I think
that gives Manny an advantage, and
I think that give Porter an advantage because he's seen Manny's style, because Manny's awkward. But I don't think that give Manny an advantage because he still can't fight in the inside. What you gonna do? You ain't gonna be able to fight in the inside overnight if you never been able to fight in the inside your whole career.
You need to turn. You need to hold strategically.
Well, why he didn't do that to Jeff Horn? Manny's not the man to hold. Now you're asking Manny to do something that he don't do.
Like, look, when he, this is not a good sample. When he fought Ricky Hatton, Ricky Hatton was an inside fighter. He wanted to get inside, and Manny Pacquiao held when he needed to, and then he did some other things and he ran Ricky Hatton into some punch. Of course, this was a prime. This was a prime or whatnot. But
hold on. First of all, Manny was in his prime. Second of all, Ricky Hatton, he should have been called no defense Hatton because he had no defense.
This is the same guy to beat Costa though,
man.
Right?
Washed up to Costa. Let's be honest.
All right, but let me finish my point though. Let me finish my point. Go ahead. The thing I was saying is that Manny Pacquiao hasn't looked as bad as he did since that Jeff Horn fight. He looked bad in that Jeff Horn fight. But if you look at the other fights since then, I just think that it was his training, the people that he was working with, and some other things. But he hasn't looked. He's looked a lot better since then.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. It's stylistically, Broner was trying to box him. He stayed in the outside. Keith Thurman, he tried to fight in the inside. Never fought in the inside a day in his life. He always moves around and shit. So Keith Thurman fights at a certain distance that Manny Pacquiao loves to fight in. Broner did the same thing. They fall for Manny trap. It's easy for him to land his straight left hand because you don't see it coming down the pipe. We saw how Porter was slipping Errol Spence left hand. We saw Porter how with his head movement. And we saw Manny Pacquiao struggle against Jeff Horn because of inside fighting. Now picture Porter, because he ain't no Ricky Hatton. Ricky Hatton will walk straight in to a right hand or a straight left. Meanwhile, Porter will bob and weave coming in. Porter will fight in the inside and use his weight.
That's kind of being nice.
He did bob and weave.
He does this. He's just like
that's feigning.
And then I'm just
he bob and weave. You saw it against me and you saw it against Keith Thurman, and we saw it against Errol Spence. So we got to give Porter the credit.
He doesn't come in like this.
So like, how was he?
This is not a Porter.
So how
Porter does this? He bounces and then he just decides, okay, I'm a rushing.
That's
and then he out there he bounces like he's not like.
I could tell
he's not this kind of person.
I could tell Porter will give you a lot of problems because you didn't even notice the little things that
I do notice him. Like
hold on.
I give him more credit as a boxer but to act like he's this slick fighter.
I ain't saying he's a slick fighter. I say he got the style to give Pacquiao a hard fight. Now peep this. Porter, when he in the outside, he feints and does that, which you pointed out. However, when Porter comes inside, he bob and weave. You got to know the difference. When Porter is trying to box and he's staying in the inside, that's when he feint and give you that jerky shit. Like when you don't know what he about to do, he like, oh, he feinting me or he about to throw. And then when he throw, he come in with his head too. And Pacquiao hate that shit. Now, meanwhile, when Porter come in the inside, he bob and weave. You know what I'm saying? And that's what he did against Errol Spence, and that's what made him so effective against both Keith Thurman and Errol Spence because he brought his best. That being said, he don't even got to bring his best against Pacquiao, and I believe he beat Pacquiao because he got the style to beat a Pacquiao because he will be slipping Pacquiao left hands. He will be able to get away from his straight punches, and then in the inside, he will use his weight to bully Manny Pacquiao, and not just bully Pacquiao, but putting that work on him. And Manny's too small for Porter, man. He will toss him around the ring from a corner to corner. We saw what Porter did to.
I think that left finds a home or whatnot. For one thing, I love Spence.
Man, Porter will eat that shit.
Don't get crazy, but like Spence is not the fastest fighter in the world or whatnot. So
but I believe
to avoid that left or whatnot. Yeah, hit harder. But I'm saying like Manny has the punches that hurt the most. The punches that hurt the most are the ones that you don't see. And then Pacquiao is one of the best at getting punches in there that you don't see. And then against Kell Brook, I mean, this was a 1-2.
Hold on,
but he was getting.
So you think Pacquiao knocks out Porter?
I think that he will.
You say catch it. How are you gonna say Pacquiao knocks out Porter at age 40? When the last time Pacquiao knocked somebody out? Keep thinking.
Lucas Matisse, like,
man, really that shit don't count, man. Really that shit don't count. You better keep going back.
I mean, that's facts, though.
Matisse, you gonna compare Matisse to Porter? Matisse was already washed up before fighting Pacquiao. He lost to Paul Starr, and after that, he lost to more fighters than that.
He also knocked out your boy, Lamont Peterson.
That's in his prime. You comparing the fighter in his prime and when he's washed up. That's like comparing Gamboa when he was undefeated at 126 and a Gamboa today when he lost to a fighter with 4 losses. But Gamboa in his prime was equivalent to what Prince Nassim Hamed and Roy Jones. People were looking at him like, damn, this dude pound for pound number 1.
He was crazy.
And now you compare it to him. He lost to a dude with 4 knockouts. You can't compare a guy toward the end of his career and early in his career. That's like comparing Roy Jones.
No, you asked me a question. You asked me when the last time.
You said, oh, Matisse, Pacquiao knocked Matisse, and Matisse knocked out Lamar Pearson. Like, nah, you can't do that. I'm saying, give me
that's a name. That's not like he fought somebody named like Harold Carter.
Let me rephrase the question. Name me a fighter Pacquiao knocked out in his prime recently. Like last opponent he knocked out.
You said in his prime and then you said
recently. No.
So he's not in his prime right now.
Not Pacquiao prime. Knocks out a fighter
that was in his prime.
Like a fighter not washed up.
The last one was Miguel Cotto.
Damn. Where the fuck was that? First of all, Cotto, that was a weight drain, Cotto. At 145, when Cotto had to make the weight they couldn't make for years, and he was drained, and Pacquiao was in his prime, and And it was a guy that Cotto that been stopped by Margarito. Now Porter, on the other hand, never been stopped, been dropped, but got up and fought and wins almost every round that he drops in, almost. Yeah. And a fighter that's in his prime, and a fighter that got the style to give Porter a hard time. I think you don't want the smoke with the PAC tars. That's what it sounds like.
I'm just like
I don't know.
When I was thinking about it,
you ain't making the case for Porter.
I think that Pacquiao is gonna run him into a lot of these left hands, and then Porter. I like Porter as an individual. He's a great ambassador for the sport. I've never liked his style of boxing.
It don't matter. But I'm saying I like Manny Pacquiao more than I like Porter. I'm not saying Porter's a better fighter than Manny Pacquiao, but I'm saying at this point in his career, he gets not stopped by Porter almost because he got the style that's gonna give Manny a hard time. And like you trying to make a case for Manny, but if you're being truthful, like Manny, when the last time he walked somebody into a knockout punch? Is that Ricky Hatton? That's a freaking deck. He couldn't even knock out Chris Algieri.
But he knocked him down like 7 times or whatnot. I mean, it was a lot. He's still
throwing the white towel.
What are you doing? What is it?
Man, that's the equivalent of a white towel for me, man. Cause we ain't got
shout out to Eat Mad Assassin or whatnot. But y'all already know or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? I'm collecting bodies over here. They might well call me the Grim Reaper. Here
I had looking like Roy Jones. After Roy Jones' prime, when he was getting knocked out every day. So, anyways, last subject of the day, we got Gamboa versus Tank Davis. I told you that fight was going to take place. Now, who you got?
Crazy.
Who you got winning that fight? Does Gamboa have a chance at this point of his career? He knocked out Martinez, coming off an impressive knockout win in the second round. However, Martinez has been washed, even when he got knocked out by Lomachenko. I like Gamboa. You know, Gamboa he signed this glove. You know, that's my man. Gamboa is one of the most feared fighters in the world. Got ducked by Mikey Garcia in his prime. He was ducked at 126. Nobody wanted to smoke with him. I feel like the politics of boxing played him a Rigondeaux, who you all see his signature here as well. And, you know, they did him greasy. They could have went down in history as one of the 2 greatest fighters of all time, possibly the greatest Hispanic fighters of all time. We spoke about that earlier. That being said, I do like this fight because my man is about to get paid.
It's a good fight.
I want to see Gamboa get paid. I'm be honest with y'all. I'm going to tell it like it is. My man Gamboa is going to get, you know, put to sleep in this fight because Tank Davis hit hard and Gamboa just doesn't have the reflexes. And it's like a Roy Jones effect. You know, he got, you know, because of his athleticism, he fell in love. He fell in love with, you know, the bad habits that he used to make, never corrected them because, you know, he got away with them like Prince Nassim Hamed, like Roy Jones did. So when their athleticism, you know, kind of started going away, unlike Ali, where Ali had the greatest chin of the world and the greatest heart in the world, and still
the greatest mind. Too.
And the
he
greatest
was able
mind
to adapt his style.
I mean, coming out with a damn rope-a-dope against George Foreman, the hardest puncher of all time. You know, that's a different story. But you know, I believe Gamboa just feeling to the politics of boxing and the hate. And that being said, I like this fight because my man gonna get paid. However, Tank Davis obviously gonna get a big victory, and that's why I say it matters when you fight your opponent. This ain't even the same Gamboa that fought Terence Crawford. That ain't even the best version of Gamboa.
Nope.
But still, it was a good version of Gamboa. Like, it ain't even a washed version. This is like a washed version. You know what I'm saying? That being said, how you see this fight? Will it even go to rounds?
Nah, I'd see Tank just bodying my boy. I mean, I like Gamboa was one of my fighters that I love watching coming up. He never got that big fight
because of Bob Arum kept him away from Martinez. Salido upset at him, all that.
And then he never got a chance to fight Mikey Garcia. And then he basically fed him to Terence Crawford.
They fed him,
and he he was food for Terence, but he still even had Terence like on Queer Street for a minute. He caught Terence, and that just shows you his power. But Terence adjusted and then just laid waste to him. Yeah. I unfortunately think that's gonna be the case again.
And you know,
I hate to see it for my dude, but damn.
Nah, it's crazy you say that, right? Gamboa is doing pretty well. You know, when you watch boxing, you improve. You start seeing different things. When you spar, you see different things. Like I always remember, I used to be like, man, why Gamboa made that silly mistake where he threw the right hand and kept his hand down. Like if he threw the right hand and kept his hand up, Terrence Crawford threw a check hook while pivoting and caught him, right? Because he noticed that Gamboa liked to throw the right hand and he was too short to be fighting in the outside. Yeah. So when he caught him like that, I was like, man, how can Gamboa make a silly mistake like that? But I peeped that Gamboa was actually, when he was fighting, he would pull the glove of Terrence down and throw the right hand. So he don't get countered. But what Terrence did, because he was throwing jabs, he would pull his hand and counter him. You know what I'm saying? So what Terrence did, while he was pulling him, he used that momentum to come back with a hook and caught him right away. So it's called being, adjusting. But sometimes when I was, when I watched it, now I know more boxing. You know what I'm saying? I learn every day. That's why I love Floyd, and because I notice little things every day, and little things is what matters. So I don't believe Gamboa at this point of his career, I believe in his prime, he would have beat Lomachenko. I mean, I think he had that style to beat Lomachenko because he had that. The dude will throw 100 punches around, and they're all hard, and they're all fast. And, man, the man he was on a second level. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like
he was a physical freak. He was one of those first physical freaks of the lower weight division. He was like just
second,
all like muscle. Yeah, but I'm just saying like physically, physique, like how he looked, like he was just a ball of muscle.
But unlike Anthony Joshua, he don't get gassed out
or whatnot. Yeah, but didn't get gassed out, like quick twitch muscles. The guy was something to see, and just we're catching him, and he's basically gonna be part of a coronation for Tank Davis once he gets knocked down.
And that's why new media here, we here to stop the confusion that's going around and give credit where credit is due to the fighters that deserve it, because most of the fighters that don't get the credit they deserve is fighters from the coincidentalists, and the fighters that get credit more than they deserve is fighters from the hopeless, because they want to even out the playing field, because the fighters from the coincidentalists, they over here dominating, you know what I'm saying, and we out here exposing it. So that being said, thank y'all for tuning in to Split Decision. To my left, obviously, it's Professor Nim, a real lifetime professor.
I want to say it's Nims too, is with an S when I pronounce this.
Nims?
Nims.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, kind of like remember like the rapper back. It has nothing to do with him, but it's like I'll give people insight one day how I got the name Professor Nims. But it's actually Nims.
It's Professor Nims, but today he came to my IQ University. I took him to my IQ University. Hopefully he graduated. That being said, we out here, matching. Hey, we ain't out here trying to be looking alike and stuff like that, but he out here looking.
Shout out to Palestine also.
Yeah, this is from Yemen, man. We're just talking about Palestine, but shout out to Palestine too. You got it from Palestine?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I got this from Yemen, straight from the motherland, baby. That being said, hey, Professor Nan pulling up fresh and shit. He out here went shopping with Floyd Money Mayweather. Always. You know what I'm saying? TMT shit. He out here, you know what I'm saying, looking like he on the TMT payroll and shit. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, appreciate y'all for tuning in. At the end of the day, comment below who y'all think won the debate. Is it Professor Nim? Because he claiming Professor Nim's won, but we don't see him in the comment section though. But we peep all the Aki hashtags, so I appreciate all of y'all. Now, if you do if y'all believe Professor Nim won the debate, obviously
hashtag Nims. That's all you got to do is put hashtag Nim. Because everybody was just like, the guy on the right, or the hashtag Nims, and then, of course, everybody knows Aki.
But you know what happened, though. When you get taken to school by the Aki, you know what I'm saying? Yo, brother over here, you know what I'm saying, who bringing up facts back to back. I'm out here looking like Drake while you out here looking like Meek Mill. You know what I'm saying? I don't got a ghostwriter, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm like Russ. I write my own shit.
He got a whole team. He got a whole team behind him.
You know what I'm saying? It's all hard work and dedication over here. I'm looking like Russ over here. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Rest in peace to Patrick Day. Shout out to Jamal Charlo for paying for the funeral.
Respect.
Respect to Jamal Charlo. Check out his fight December. His brother fight, his twin, is against his revenge against Tony Ferguson. That's another great fight we're looking forward to. And I'm going to be in New York City this weekend checking out my man Khalid Tuwaiti, however you want to say it. I'm going to be covering his fight and dropping that on exclusive on Aki TV and maybe DBN too. I got to talk to my man So check out Khalid Tuwaiti. If you're in New York City, pull up on my man and watch this fight. I believe it's a Thursday night. So support the brother. We out here. We the wave. We the mob. We the movement. It's Aki TV, and y'all tuning in to Split Decision. And yeah, it's Split Decision, but y'all fans are telling me to change it to knockout because I'm over here looking for the knockout every show. I'm over here knocking out Professor Nim every time I get a chance to. And that's my man. He ain't even trying to go out with me no more.
I think my brother got CTE already, but like how many smart matches you been in? Hey, but one thing, hey, we appreciate all the views, but also comment as far as if there's any topics that you feel that you might want us to like cover or doing that. Like we want this to be a really kind of engaged process with the people out there, and we appreciate all the comments, good and bad. Like I said, I love them. I like being the bad guy.
I enjoy the realest comments, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want y'all to bring up facts. And you know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, I know none of y'all want smoke with me because every time y'all say something about me, y'all ain't say nothing but y'all hating on my drip. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, y'all ain't talk about anything that I'm saying that's wrong. Y'all ain't bringing up facts to contradict what I'm saying. Everything I say is facts to support my opinion. That being said, appreciate it to everybody that's tuning in. I appreciate all the love and support. And we will go live soon when we get things in order and together. That being said, Professor Nim, appreciate it. We had a great show today. Now, I believe I won the show. I don't know how you feel. I feel like $1 million bucks. How you feel?
I'm feeling like I'm looking, you know what I'm saying? So, Drip, so I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling good.
Well, I'm out here looking like Pretty Boy Floyd the way I'm out here with my defense. I'm out here being undefeated on Split Decision, baby. That being said, thank y'all for tuning in. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't. And listen to these casual fans. Click on the notification bell to get notified every time we go live. And we outie.
Peace.
I see, shut I see. Yeah. Let go. Hey.
And the high girl wanna say, I don't got time for the hate. I need more time in my day. I put an ice in my bay, yeah. You riding on me. I get my drip every